My name is Lewis Lee from All Ends Media, and that's my daughter and the dog in the background. And we're going to be talking about PRI this evening. Me and the fellas are going to meet up there, Nelson and Terry and a couple other of the fellas. We're all going to meet up in Indianapolis for the show, and hopefully we'll make up for not going to SEMA. And so
I hear it's a good show.
Yeah, they a lot of parts. You know, it's the racing, more of the racing industry, but a lot of the celebrities go there, so we'll be interviewing those guys and girls.
Well, that'd be cool.
Yeah, Steve Darnell, he'll probably be there, so I'll run into him. And
I actually had an opportunity to go this year, and I turned it down.
Why'd you do that?
Too many other things going on.
Nah, you just tell them you're busy that day.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Unfortunately, I took my vacation this week, so that's that.
Oh, did you?
My buddy told me he's got he drag races. Yeah. He won a couple of years ago with a couple of guys, and I even told him, "Hey, look up this guy Nelson." And sure enough, he hooked up with Nelson, talked to him, and came back and said, "Yeah, really nice guy, and definitely a worthwhile product."
Listen, Nelson I went and toured his shop when we were down in Alabama. And he has a machine running, man. You should see his place.
Yeah.
I think he has like 50 or 60 employees. He's
he has that many, really?
Oh, wow. Yeah. He's the big dog.
I know when the time comes, I'm ordering a converter for him for my wagon.
Yeah, me too. He told me I got to get the wheel size and everything all set up first, and he can build it for that car. But yeah, he has a nice thing going on, man. He moves a lot of product.
Good for him.
Yep.
I know he's a nice guy. When he comes on here, he's always good.
Oh yeah, man. We meet out in Vegas, and he takes care of everybody, man. He's like that guy, you know, like somebody's uncle. He takes care of everybody. Yep. So we're gonna meet up with him.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I tell you what, man. This community and the people that we come across are all so nice. I mean, it's like a big family all over the country.
Oh yeah.
It's like the Martins, you know, I talk to them and they're, you know, just everybody's like you've known them forever. This is a cool industry.
Yeah, they are. I mean, like you said, they're really helpful, and like I said, everybody's willing to lend out a helping hand. And you know, like I said, it's great being part of that, you know.
Yeah. I talked to Emily today from Flying Sparks. Or actually, it was yesterday. I was trying to get her on the show, but they're real busy. They're traveling. They're doing a lot of traveling. Yeah,
they haven't done that much posting lately.
Yeah. Oh well, she does on Instagram, I think.
Yeah, I follow them. I mean, like I said, well, I don't know. I think that Instagram is fixed anyway. It's listening to me now. So since I've talked about it, they'll show me 27. You know, they'll have it on there or something. I don't know.
Yep. Yeah. So I talked to her, and you know, she's like, "Oh man, I wish I could, but we're traveling." You know, so everybody I talk to is the same. It's like we've known each other forever.
Yeah. So have you done any more on the bus?
No, but I've been buying stuff. I got actually one of my friends gave me some insulation today for the floor and some wood, the plywood. So that's going to save me a lot. That's thinking plywood's, man, $60 a sheet.
I know, it's insane, isn't it?
Oh man,
I was at Home Depot, and where are? Oh, they're still over there. Here, let me get them. Hold on.
All right.
Now, plywood's come down some, hasn't it? I thought it was like $90.
A little bit, but it's still. Last year, I think I paid $30. I think for a sheet. And the same plywood now is $60.
Yeah.
You know what? Where are the fellas at? I think something happened with this thing, and I had to redo it. I hope they got the right link. They might be on a different show.
I got in straight through, and it was like,
did you?
Got right in. I was kind of like surprised.
I was in Home Depot, and they had these 2-pack organizers.
Yeah.
And they were $9.99
for 2-pack.
For a 2-pack.
Really?
Yeah.
Now
and they come off.
Yeah.
And one's like 1.5 inches and one's like 3 inches.
Yeah.
And they're all they got the configurating drawers.
Mm-hmm.
Where you got the trays that you can change out.
Now I just bought a DeWalt one for $9.99 for one.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got Mr. Frank in the house. What's up, buddy?
Where we were
going?
Sorry, Brian.
Where we were going with the wood is that I wanted to buy a piece of plywood and make a cabinet so I could slide these in and keep my small bits for the tool truck. Yep. And I was looking at wood over, and I was like, man, I want to pull some off of somebody's roof or something. That's kind of crazy, man.
It is. I'm doing the same thing because I have a whole bunch of the DeWalt and the Craftsman are the same.
So
you can stack them all together. So I got a whole bunch of them, and I'm gonna do the same thing where I can slide them in and out. Yep. But man, the wood, man, you gotta give them a finger or arm to get some wood.
I don't know. So
that's
crazy. But
what's happening? You guys are talking about wood, and I'm like, we thought, because you know how we are as a society, we're pack rats. I got like 4 storage units, paying umpteen, who knows how much a month. So I told my wife, I said, we got to build a shed, and oh my goodness, man, wood is ridiculously expensive. It's crazy.
I just added on to my garage. I put on 10 by 12, and I'm roughly around $1,000. But for me to buy a shed 10 by 10, they wanted $4,000. So I still made. I still made out, but that $1,000 hurt when you like last year. I could have built it for $500.
Yep.
Yeah, I just read too, because one of the other things. Obviously inflation is real. Beef, right? So beef has gone up, and you can call it what you will, but the interesting part of that was that I forget what gas, but basically the gas that keeps the reefers cool, that has doubled in price. All of the elements to packaging beef has like doubled in price. So I'm like, you know what? We're becoming vegetarians.
Yeah. Start growing your own food, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to try to show you guys this shed let me see if I can flip this around. I got bad lighting. You know what? I won't be able to show you, but it's coming along. It's just, I thought I'd have whatever 3-4K into this thing because it's all custom. And the guy doing the job is great. I don't have time for it, but it's double the price, man. So I'm trying to sell my wife on it because she's pissed. I'm like, honey, just think. All that money we're spending a month, we got like 4 storage sheds, storage units. So, but yeah, it's crazy. And, the parts in the shop has been, especially for Chrysler and Dodge, my rental, how many clients I'm putting in rentals. So I'd spend about $2,000 a month in rentals, another $3,000 in Lyft. I've almost doubled my rentals. And of course it's factored into the ticket. We're not losing money, but because of supply chain delays, and then, it seems like the attention to detail is horrific. I'm finding that, a lot of the counter folks are just dropping the ball. It's just like a whole different, it's not as professional. I don't know what COVID did, but of course at Apex and SEMA, hanging out with a few of the C-suite individuals for these part distribution companies like Parts Authority, they're scrambling, In fact, Parts Authority's expanding. They just bought another 14 stores in Iowa, and their logic. I'm like, hey, dude, why are you buying more stores? Just give me the right parts.
Yeah.
What are you doing? But their logic is that by expanding their footprint, they're able to sort of deep dive into more resources, I guess. But that's it's an odd time.
Yeah, it really is. And I was listening to the radio today, and that Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs.
Yeah,
he was on, and he's making some kind of wine or liquor or something. I think it was liquor, but he says he's held up because he can't get bottles.
Yeah.
He can't get the corks and then the labels. 3 different companies, and he can't get none of it.
I got a guy that owns a body shop, and he's got a wine. He makes wine in Portugal. That's where he's from, and he's got, I don't know, 500 acres or something that he's got this winery on. And he's like, he goes, he came to me and says, I'm selling my business. I got to get home because, and it took him so long for him to realize, because he's like, these guys are screwing up. I got all this product, can't ship out, can't move, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I looked at him and I said, hey, it's no difference than you trying to get your parts. There's nothing available. And of course he started looking into it, and he's like, man, I can't find bottles. I can't find corks. I can't find shipping container. You know, everything has just turned into a cluster. And of course, you know, it's taken him 5 or 8 years to build up where he's now really starting to export the stuff. You know, it's just not a couple hundred bottles. I mean, he's really moving some product now. And he's like, I don't know how I want to do it now, because you can't, you know, unless you start putting it in a Ziploc baggie and shipping it out. I don't know what you're going to do. It's crazy.
And I think it's by design, man, because it's just funny how it's everything. It's not just a couple things.
Yeah.
And think about this. Last year, this time, we didn't have any problems with products. So what's the difference between now and then?
Well, they say it's because everybody's up moving around, but
the COVID, they're blaming it on COVID. But we had COVID last year too, but we still have bottles and corks.
Well, I don't know how many have been to Long Beach lately on the West Coast, but it's real, dude. I mean, when you see 15 ships, Tenneco, Monroe, they've got $10 million in parts sitting out, and so, I mean, we could speculate. I get it. I mean, see some theories about. I mean, you'd hate to think that this was done purposely in some odd way, but the fact is, it's such a great bottleneck. And you know, no one could give me, because I'm trying to develop a legitimate show topic on facts and not hearsay. A lot of the people that I'll interview outside the show, sort of preliminary conversations, all they're doing is really, it's like sideline coaching with no facts. Like, I hear complaining. So it's kind of hard. I was disappointed actually in Apex, because it just seemed like there's no solution. No one could give me, you know, I mean, you hear about what the federal government's doing, you know, I think a lot of it's shtick, but you know, Biden said he's getting Walmart to work overtime to keep up. You know, I mean, this is all BS, you know, but I will say that most seem to have a sentiment, those that were decision makers in the supply chain having to really pull their hair out and overcome this. They're talking third, fourth quarter 22 into 23. So I'm talking to a lot of my shop owners across the country, and I'm like, well, you know, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to absolutely make sure, the convenience factors in place. Like you can keep a car maybe 2 or 3 days, but to keep it for 2 weeks, and it, you know, you're waiting for a clutch kit or what have you, on retail, nothing classic car wise. That's a whole different, you know, ball game. You got to make sure you have the convenience factor, and I'm telling everyone to raise their labor rates by at least $10 an hour, to help offset some of those additional costs. You know,
Right.
So yeah, it's an odd time. I will add to that, guys, and I'm sure you guys are seeing this as well. I had 2 master technicians set up for interviews, and they both, not only did they not show, but they both left the industry.
Wow.
Really?
Oh yeah. It's like, you know, so I felt bad. I was like, hey, and you know me, I'm going to try to hook him. I said, you haven't met Frank yet. Don't worry. And they were like, no, you know, we respect where you're coming from, but we're out of here, you know? And so, yeah, it's, you know, the shortage is real.
I can't tell you how many phone calls I get or texts of pictures of like, how much you going to buy my tools back for?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I had a guy today. Been in business. I don't know how long. Works at a dealer, master. How much you going to give me for my tool? He had a box, a hutch, a side locker, and everything. And I was like, I'm not, dude, I can't buy him back. I mean, what am I going to do with him?
Yeah.
I have a hard enough time selling what I have now. I'm selling new. I mean,
yeah.
We did it to ourselves, okay? And I know there's exceptions. The only way to own a problem is to own it. And perhaps, as I said, I like to feel like I'm an exception. But I think a lot of these retail multi-store outlets, they have banged out these youngsters. They don't pay them enough. They treat them like shit. And, you know, who wants to stay in the industry? You know,
Right.
I student, as you guys know, with the East Valley Institute of Technology, I'll roll about 5 or 6 students, and it's paid. Like I'm paying these kids $20 an hour to actually come in, and I'll give you sort of an idea of a day. You know, as part-time, the one kid, he comes in. I said, this is about attention to detail in this business. So you will, the first hour, go through the shop and methodically make sure you back up. We have a clean shop already. My guy's already doing it, but I want the attention to detail. And I tell them, we're examining that. Before you get on a rear brake shoes with springs and all kinds of stuff that can go haywire and wrong, you have to prove that your attention to detail is there. So he's on that for about an hour, and then bam, we get him with our master team. In fact, we just posted up on Facebook. He's deep diving into data. You know, so he's not getting bored. I think the industry is, and the poor instructors, you know, they get no participation with the industry. So it's really, we got to own it, man. You know, and if we're gonna change it, we gotta change it. You know.
Right. It you know, we're in different parts of the country, all of us, and we're feeling it, the same stuff, and it's kind of scary, really. You know, when is, I'm gonna say that, I'm not gonna say the politicians, but when are the politicians going to do stuff for us and not for their pockets?
you know, never happen.
Like California, you know, the unions got it tied up out there for the truckers. When I'd go out that way, I would stop at the line and drop the load. They had to come get it from the state line because there's so many regulations in California. Half the truckers don't want to go in there.
Yeah, here's something funny. So in Vegas, we stayed at the Bellagio, whatever the deal is, and more connected to the Apex side. In fact, I couldn't make it over to SEMA as originally planned. I lost my voice. I had 14 interviews. So anyway, I have my gear, and so the bellhop, it's $30. But he said the minute we got to the Sands, it's union, and if you need to go past, he said he couldn't go past that. Okay, well, what if they came and picked it up from where I'm at down into Sands? He said that's $300 because it's union.
Wow.
Wow. I mean, all these little dynamics, and you know, at that point, I was like, oh, fuck this, give me my shit.
You know, that's crazy. Now Long Beach, the ports, they're not letting non-union truck drivers go in there and get loads.
Yeah.
So wouldn't you as the governor say we're gonna squash that until we get caught up?
You would think. Well, that's like
who the governor is in California.
Well, I've said this earlier once before, and I'll say it again because, you know, this is a national situation that we have here. We don't have anybody to unload the ports. We don't have the trucks to move the ports. This is what they say, right? They don't have the manpower. They don't have the trucks, and they don't have the way to moving it. So, well, where the hell's the National Guard or the Army? I mean, we could send these guys for 20 years to other countries and absolutely do nothing. Okay. But we have an issue here, and because of somebody's pocket or some type of BS, that we all have to suffer about this. And they'll sit here and 4 months before any kind of election, they all run around here blowing kisses and wiping our ass, saying they're going to do all this stuff for us. And we're just like the sheep, and we vote them right back in, or we don't do any kind of change that way. And I just don't understand why we don't have the National Guard. Hey, if they can't unload a boat, we send in the Army, right?
Yep.
And I don't understand why this stuff isn't here. But and Mr. Lee over there on his comments is absolutely right. I saw a lot of this stuff starting about 20 years ago. And like I said, you just sit there and say, oh, it'll never happen. It'll never happen. It'll never happen. And then here it is. Yep. It bites you right here. It's right here. And half the people that started this problem aren't around. So it's just somebody else lining their pockets. And it's really disgusting that it's the way I feel, but
no, you're right. And the COVID opened up a lot of windows that we didn't realize, like the schools. We didn't know that they were teaching our kids, crazy stuff until the Zoom calls. The parents were like, wait a minute, what is that? And it all came out. We would have went another 10 years without knowing.
If you never found out at all.
Yeah. Well, we're in for one hell of a ride, and unfortunately, I don't know how it's going to end out, but
we're in the middle of it now.
I'll have my Mad Max outfit, and I got armor plate to put on top of the tool truck, so we're good.
Hey, but you know what? The other day I was talking to somebody, and it hit me that, hey, all this stuff is in the Bible, and it's telling us what's going to happen, and I'm a firm believer, and it got to the point where, wait a minute, God already told me what's going to happen, and I didn't think I was ever going to see any of it. So I'm starting to see it. You know what I mean? So God's in control. So that's the way I got to roll with it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Still gotta rebuild carburetors and reprogram vehicles, though.
Yeah.
Somebody's gotta do it.
Hey, speaking of carburetors, Mr. Ray was popping 4 this week.
That's what I was trying to segue to, Mr. Ray.
Yeah, thanks, Frank.
You got it, buddy.
Sometimes they come at you fast and frenzied. Standing there working on some other stuff at the house, and a buddy comes to the gate. He's like, "Hey, are you here?" I'm like, "No, I'm not here." He's good. So up to the front, what he got? And he's got this bucket of 3 carburetors. Like he's building a gasser and he's building a streetcar rat rod. He goes, "You still doing carburetors?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, of course." He goes, "I got 3 for you." I'm like, "Okay." So now it's a matter of, and I'm working on a small engine carburetor too for another guy. So it's a matter of like now setting up a. I like to work like a kind of like a dealer model where or a factory model. I like to have like my assembly line all set up. Mm-hmm. So it's like take them all apart, then wash them, clean them, and then build them. So, but you find yourself doing other things in betweens because sometimes time doesn't agree with you. So actually, yesterday I cooked and assembled a lasagna in between cleaning carburetors.
You didn't mix any.
I beat my record. Yeah, I did it in an hour. So, yeah.
Multitask. There you go.
Hopefully that lasagna, because it looked damn good, doesn't taste like carburetor cleaner.
That should be all right. a little bit of a wank. But I'll tell you, Frank, what you said. Now, whenever anybody asks me if I can do a carburetor for them, the first thing I tell them is, I don't even ask them what it is. I say, it depends if I can get a kit for it. Because I've had problems getting kits. And besides the price being really expensive. And he said, no problem. I got 3 kits. I got them from eBay. They're Chinese kits. And I said, well, they're your carburetors. Let me see them. And I tell you, he got 3 pretty damn good looking kits. Yeah. With floats and everything, which is kind of odd for a Chinese kit.
Yeah.
So, and an Edelbrock is such a stone. I mean, what do you got in there? You got a couple of gaskets. You got an accelerator pump. There's a check ball.
Were they plastic floats or metal?
Oh, brass.
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant, brass.
Very nice. Nice stuff. So,
good.
Yeah, so I said, okay, well.
I would just float them before you put them in, though.
Well, what I did is I I weighed the original ones to see if they're within spec, and they're good. So I'm going to use the originals.
Oh, okay.
I believe in using the original parts wherever I can. I only change that stuff if I have to.
Yeah.
You know.
Hey, Ray,
Yep.
please pick apart our guest list, man. And if I can get you anybody on the show, let me know.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Some of the manufacturers, and we just had the Fuel Fest, Fast and Furious people. We had, which was a surprise. Chris Lee was supposed to call in. He's one of the co-founders of the Fuel Fest, which is part of the whole Fast and Furious tradition. The late Paul Walker's charity. Paul Walker's brother Cody Walker called, which was pretty cool. You know, that was unexpected. But yeah, however I can help, man.
Okay, excellent. Well, I got a call from Chassis John last night. He's obviously not here tonight because he's seeing him and his wife are out seeing was it Sebastian Maniscalco, the comedian down in Florida. Oh, yeah. So that's where he is tonight. But he says, "Hey, did my friend Victor call you?" And I'm like, "No, Victor who?" It was Vic Cagnazzi. I'm like, "No, I haven't spoke to Vic. I had him on a show, years ago." And that's the guy who did the 57 Chevy, the popular hot rodding, the Project X that electrified it for SEMA. And I said, no, he didn't call me. He goes, oh, I gave you a number. I told him to call you. He goes, he says, yeah, he'll come on your show and talk about it. I'm like, okay. All right. Yeah. So I got to reach out to him tomorrow, see we may have him on Sunday.
Let me know how it works out. I'd love to have him booked as well, because that's all the rage right now. In fact, Cody Walker had said, I guess Germany, I don't know how serious this is. I mean, the Germans are pretty serious, but I guess Germany is coming up with a synthetic fuel.
Really?
They don't want it to go away, I guess. I don't know.
Good for them. Wow. Well, I'll tell you this, that whole thing with Project X started a fury all over the internet, and we were talking about it last week. Love it, hate it, pro or con. John was telling me that Victor's business now, he's getting calls, like 300 calls a day, and his business has increased. People are calling to have him build battery electric cars for him. And we're talking, to do a conversion, I think it's like between $30,000 and $50,000. You supply the car. So he's seen a very positive response from that. So I know I'm not going to be placed in an order anytime soon. But
I hear you. Yeah. I'd like to get him on the show too. But Frank, I'd like to coordinate with you. I was going to try to meet up with you at SEMA, man, and really knock heads, but
there was so much, you guys know how it goes with these expos. So first off, they had one of our sponsors that is signed, and I was all for it. It came out to 14 interviews, which had to be post-produced. They were all filmed. And then Con Media had reached out, and I just couldn't commit. It was last minute, but they wanted to do some film works before their clients at SEMA. And I texted the dude Thursday. I said, I'm checking out, man. I don't have a voice anymore. So, but yeah, we'll plan something, it's always, it's tough, man. And then Lordy, I think I lost 12 pounds.
Wow.
Wow.
You walk, you put your steps in those shows,
Yeah.
But it was a good turnout. It was a good vibe. And it was a welcome reunion after this whole COVID schmovid. And so next year, and I think there's a few events coming up beforehand. And I've got a few gigs in Florida, and then if I'm in the Midwest, Louis, I'm gonna pit stop. I really enjoy watching the progress on your bus. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. The cold weather caught me, so I kind of got to stall on it a little bit. But now that I'm moving my leather.
I got an extra bay. Tow that sucker to Phoenix, and you work right through the winter.
All right, hey, if I still have my trucks, man, I'd sure come out there.
I'll tell you what we need. We need some impromptu jazz sessions breaking out and kind of lightening the mood,
Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So I'm moving my leather shop into the new part of the garage. So then I'll have space inside my garage to do some stuff.
Nice.
And I think I'm going to build all the cabinets and the walls, the bathroom. I'm going to build it all in the garage. So in the spring, when I lift the roof, then I can just slide everything in and keep it moving. You know.
That's awesome.
So I'll be documenting it and, you know, YouTubing it and all that good stuff.
Yeah. You know, it's
Yep.
nothing like starting something sort of organically, you know, and it's refreshing. Every day's a new day when you build something, you know.
Mhm.
I see that in what you got going on. And just make the Grand Canyon your first when you're all said and done, and then you could pit stop down to Phoenix.
Oh yeah, for sure. Listen, I'm hitting everything out there because I'm a cowboy fan, man. I love cowboys and the cowboy era. So anything I can go to Dodge City or any of that stuff, I'm hitting it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's plenty of towns like that. In fact, even Mexico, I haven't been in a few years, but for a while we were spending a lot of time down there, and they have a whole cowboy culture. I forget what they call it. They call it something different. And then the Brazilians, they have the what they call the churrascarias, where they I forget the big Brazilian chain restaurant, but they come around with meat on a stick, and you turn the chip up, and
rodizio type of stuff.
Yeah. So pretty cool stuff.
Yeah,
that's good. That's good eating right there.
Brian, there's a place by me here, and it's across from a big cruise night that we go to, and there's a rodizio joint across the street called Carvalho's. And I tell you, just drive down the road and you just smell it. It's like 10 Burger Kings in one place. And it is so nice.
The problem with those places is like, you know, you're paying a premium, which is cool. It's not like you're going every week. And man, your mind is like, I got to get my money's worth. And you over the shit eat like unbelievable. Like,
And the funny part about that, Frank, is that you say when they come by with like the pork or something, you say, no, bring back the beef. I want the meat. I want the real McCoy. Don't feed me with this chicken stuff and the pork and all that stuff. You bring the steak back out, you know? Right. I want to get my money.
Yeah. What was that? The comedian who, like, when you go to the Chinese buffet, they're like, you go now.
Yeah.
John Panette.
Yeah, eat up all the food.
Yeah,
you get out of here.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, I've been told a few times that this should be my last plate. That's what I've been told. So I said just one more time, and they said I think that was your last plate. So,
oh boy, yeah, I can't wait to get on the road, man. I'll tell you. I'm going to buy a whole bunch of flip-flops and flowered T-shirts.
There you go.
That's it. I got the RV, and so I've been doing – it's a 30-footer. I think you guys have seen it. And, you know, I'll set it up. We'll do some shows and stuff. But I've not gone more than 500 miles. So, like, my wife, she's like, let's do the East Coast thing. And I'm like, okay. She don't drive it. I'm like, that's work for me. Like, I don't want to drive 8-9 hours a day.
Yeah.
The only problem being on the East Coast like that, it depends on how far up on the East Coast you go. You do 8-9 hours. That's only like 36 miles, and you're stopping. So with the traffic, so
nice.
Yeah, I'm not feeling it, to be honest with you. My mother's up in she's up by Pond Lake, Poconos area. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'm gonna just fly, and that's it, you know. But the refrigerator took a shit on this thing, so we gotta replace it. I had a guy come out, and my wife had kind of worked with the guy, and I was on the phone. I was busy, and she knows how to handle herself for sure. But the guy came out, and he did some funky test procedure, and I said, oh my gosh. So when replace the circuit board, you know you got a problem. When a guy says, all right, the circuit board's replaced, we got juice, but by the way, keep an eye on that line that's leaking.
Oh, no.
Like, so my wife told me about it, and at this point, you know, I'm like, so I mean, it's $3,000, just replace the whole thing kind of thing. And so now it's like, do we go after this guy? Then he don't answer us. I'm like, all right, we got juked.
hold on. We got Lee in the chat room, and he does RV stuff. And
yeah.
he's in.
Well, maybe I'll connect. I mean,
Yeah.
at this point, the last word we got from him, which was half baked after he said, "Oh, by the way, look at that line that's like, keep an eye on it." He had said that he would, the right thing would have been just, "Hey, I'll apply it. I made a mistake and it's $3,000. Here you go." But, it's, the RV is what? It's like a 2012, 13 model. I mean, it's the original.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd expect the thing to go down, but it just makes you reflect. And I tell my people all the time, listen, you got to be on your toes for service. It's a service experience. You want to once in a while go experience bad service somewhere. And, especially now with the lack of labor and, people are busy and slammed, you can easily lose touch with not providing that service experience. I mean, it's so easy to do that. So, yeah, I don't know what we're going to do. My wife's like, get a cooler, put some ice in it.
Hey, usually the man saying that.
Yeah. No, my wife's tough. She's tight, man.
Hey,
I'll sell you a Yeti, and that ice will last a week and a half, so even a little longer. So don't worry.
Yeah.
Isn't that the truth? But a lot of people are switching. They're putting apartment refrigerators in the buses.
Okay.
And I guess the power they got it down to a science where you don't use that much juice. So it's something to look into.
I don't know. I got a refrigerator in my tool truck, and it's a pain in the butt. It's a pain. Actually, I ended up taking it out because during the summertime, if I didn't plug that thing at night to charge up the batteries, by the end of the day, I had a dead battery trying to keep the truck cool, keep everything on and everything. So
well, that's probably because you keep trying to jam those turkeys in there for snacks. You got to keep those damn things cool.
Yeah, no, like I said, it's a lot of electronics or a lot of setup.
Lee must have jumped out because he's the RV guy he's in Oregon.
Yeah.
He's not, he ain't too far from you, Frank.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's one of those things where you just walk away, clear your head, and figure it out.
There he is.
I want it to be right, and we'll see what happens. It's kind of like the boat thing. I'm not fully retired, so I'm not in an RV daily, but it's one of those things where now, okay, you got to keep up with it, but we'll use it. We'll get used to it. I do a lot of California gigs out there by Fireball. Ken Vella's out there, Newport, Malibu. So it's nice to jump in there. I got the kids. We can do the show and, still have. So, I mean, I think I'm trying to convince myself that I did okay with it.
Yeah. Hey, as long as you can do what you got to do,
Yeah. It's a three.
Yeah.
What it does,
So listen, if you got anything that I can do over on this side of the country, hey, I'll throw your T-shirt on and go handle business if you need me to. You know what I mean?
Man, I so appreciate that. I just, I really do. I think that all come together. Did you get a T-shirt?
Oh yeah. I mean, no, I didn't. Send me another one.
All right, I'll have Susie. Oh man, I'll send him. So just get in the chat. I'll look. I got your information. If anybody's on here, we'll ship them out. I made a mistake because years ago I would be like, oh yeah, I'll send you a shirt, and I had people from Asia, from the Middle East. I'm like, damn, I'm not paying shipping.
Yeah,
more than a case of shirts.
Yeah, but absolutely no, I appreciate that, and likewise, guys, you guys know that if you're on your way to California or if you're in the Phoenix area. My house is your house. My garage is your garage. We'll go on a boat. We got some pretty cool lakes out here. And, if I can help remotely, anyway, you guys know that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and Brian was just talking about this before we got on, that this community is just so helpful. I mean, it's a lot of good people in this auto industry.
There is, and one of the things I try to make a habit of, and we have fun with it, a little shtick, but we do make it our business to ask folks I don't care what guests we got, whether it's an A personality, A-lister, or we have a local garage owner. Do you think car culture is going away? And it's fascinating to hear some of the answers. And I asked Cody Walker, Paul Walker's brother, late Paul Walker, and he hesitated a little bit because remember the name of their big deal, and it is a big deal. It's a big event. It's called Fuel Fest. And, you know, we joke around with the EVs and stuff. And so Susie Sockets, our co-host, she's like, you going to slide in EVs? And, you know, you could tell there was a little, but at the end of the day, absolutely not. We're not going to stop tinkering. There'll always be an affinity. Now, you guys got to look out for something, and I'm paying attention, but I think we're still 3 to 5 years out. But Mark Zuckerberg and Meta, that whole virtual reality, how is that going to look for what we're doing? Will we be able to connect with our avatars remotely at the garage, at your place, at, you know, in your school bus, Louis? It's just crazy to think what's down the pipeline. You know, but I think regarding car culture, it ain't going anywhere.
I don't think so either. I don't think so either because it's such a fascination to people. You know what I mean? Like some people are Ford people, some people are Chevy, some people are. I'm a everything. Anything you put gas in, I want to touch it or play with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of people I talk to are that way. So I don't see it going away. I mean, it's just we just got to figure out how to keep it moving.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's reinvention. I mean, I think if the argument that, you know, I mean, I've dealt with a lot of youngsters in the garage and where their heads are at, and they, you know, they may not look at I mean, everyone loves the 68 Camaro, but they may be looking at a tuner or, hey, what can I do to a Model 3? I mean, Elon Musk has already done it. Be careful, but you know, we're always going to tinker, and I think it's gonna be interesting to see how the trade schools, mainly, and Ray, you probably speak to this a little bit more, how we evolve and sort of change method by way of garnering interest for the future. You know, how do we teach my daughter in 6 years? You know, if she likes to tinker and likes to, you know, work on stuff, you know, how's that look? You know, it's pretty fascinating to me.
You know, it's a good question. And I just met with a class 2 days ago. And these are all, you know, young guys. They're in an electronics class. And the lecture was on, we're talking about opto-isolators and photocells. And, you know, for the most part, they were kind of lost. There was like 1 or 2 kids in the class who were kind of on it. They did their homework and they read up on it. And the other guy that was in the class, he said, you know, he asked for some real world applications. So we started talking about that. And, you know, you talk with these guys and you give them the examples, and then it starts clicking. And you know, you got to stimulate their brains and tell them, like, you know, where you see this stuff. And then they'll think about where they've seen it. And now you can get a conversation going because now you get them invested in the topic. And now next thing you know is like you start putting circuits on the board and they want to build it. Like, okay, so listen, you know, you 4 build this one, you 4 build this one. I know we're going to test them and let's see. And now you can go through the whole troubleshooting process and the rest of it. You get to the heart of the class, but the whole thing is to get them invested in what they're doing. And, that's where a lot of people miss the bill. A lot of people just get up there and just go by the book, and you lose it. Yeah. They do what they have to do. They don't do what they want to do.
You got to make it fun.
Ray, did you hear about ASC's partnership? They've really invested, and there's going to be there'll be some good federal government money. They're getting flexible on the ASC Student Partnership. It was announced recently on one of my panel discussions with the ASA National. So I mean, it seems like those powers that be on the education side for skilled trades, they definitely know there's a problem and they need to fill the gaps. You know, it just, to me, it would be interesting to see what happens. Data slowly coming from Tesla. There is an aftermarket ability, but there's so many. I mean, there's so many kinks to it. We don't get the same data that we'd get, working on, a 17 Dodge, with whatever 60 million lines of code that we got to deal with CAN bus networks and stuff. But Tesla's slowly starting to release information. I will remind everybody, and I got to say this, I don't want to preach, man, and I'll be quiet, but please write your legislators. Anybody in the comments right now, right to repair is real.
Yeah, right to repair laws. I agree.
Yeah, and so if those that are not familiar, Massachusetts had a huge battle. There was $30 million thrown at Massachusetts market by the OEs to basically scare the consumers that their vehicles were going to be hijacked remotely and taken over, right? And the OEs lost. Now we're in bed with the OEs. We got to respect and handshake and come up with the logical ways out. But one thing we need is an overwhelming fact, the aftermarket rules. We get a lot of iron in our bays throughout the country, is the right to the access of the data. I can't have flowchart number 7 missing. If you take Dodge, for example, that has the secure gateway function, I have to get through that. We need that with all platforms. So right to repair, we just talked to our lobbyist from ASA, and I will share with you guys, it's not going to happen overnight, but just write your legislator. The consumer deserves the right to the data of their vehicle, and the professional mechanic deserves the right to the data to that vehicle to fix it properly. Ray, you can probably speak on that. I know as an educator, you guys are paying attention to that as well.
Yeah, there's you actually just summed it up very succinctly. That's exactly what's going on, and we've been fighting that battle for years. I mean, it's been going on, and it kind of flip-flops. It's like a ping pong game. It goes back and forth. There's a guy I know, another guy who's he's in a high school situation, or is he in a tech school in New Jersey? He's Auto Skills Rule, and they have a Twitter and an Instagram site. You might want to check them out. And these guys, he's working with the young guys, and I try to support them as much as I can, because these are young guys and girls who are getting into the trade, and they're fighting hard, to keep them vested. So we need more programs like that. Like we all know, industrial arts went away, pretty much. But there are some automotive classes. There are some automotive programs, and these guys, there's a couple of educators out there, and they just they band together, and they petitioned the department in the school. They got the class, and they run it. And I'm sure they have constraints, and they're being watched. So if the numbers aren't right, I'm sure there's going to be trouble. But they've been very successful, and like we had BOCES here. That's kind of the equivalent of it, but in the school, and the students are so into it. They have a really, it's like a band. When you have the kids are in band, they're usually not taking band because they're just killing time. They know how to play an instrument, and they love it. And it's the same thing with these people. They're in it because they like it. And I'm just wondering why there isn't more of that.
Yeah. Well, like I said, there's a lot of activity. Excuse me, sorry guys, I got to get my charger. There's a lot of activity legislatively, and remember, guys, it's not just retail automotive. We're talking rental car, we're talking trucking industry. I mean, just transportation across the board. And so most people have not heard about it. And the fact is, there's something they can do. They just got to, call. And in fact, in the comments, if you want, I can put the link. So it's a plug and play. You don't have to spend a whole lot of time, but you literally just have to pound on your state legislator's door and say, listen, so Auto Care Association is another association. You guys can check that out. It's important because look at SEMA. SEMA already did the study. The board got together and they said, okay, what are we going to do with ADAS and all these camera systems?
Oh, geez.
Like, how are we going to, if I'm XYZ company with a lift kit and I do very well, how do I lift Chevy and still be able to manage ADAS, and so think about it, right? If those camera systems aren't aligned and they're dugged out, that's permanent pull.
Motor Magazine puts out videos every week, and I just watched one last week. They had one a couple of months ago on Toyota's system on how to calibrate that front camera that's in the grill. And when I tell you, this is a multi-step process that is, the first time you do it, you're going to be like fumbling all over yourself. You're going to be, okay, what's step A? What's step B?
Yeah.
And these are guys who are trained to do it at the dealership level. So for the guys out in the shop, and there's special equipment needed too.
Yeah.
So I know at the shop I'm at, their main shop is a body shop. And like you were talking before about, the customers, they're turning people away. Body shops around here are turning people away, and they're telling them, listen, we can't get the parts to fix your car, and we don't have a place to put your car because our lots are full. And they're saying, if your car is, if it was damaged but it's still drivable, take it and drive it. We'll call you when you can bring it in. And I just heard this a couple of weeks ago, and this one woman was kind of upset, rightfully so. And she says, well, she goes, what's going to happen now? She goes, I'll be perfectly honest. I'm just going to go to any one of your competitors, and I'm going to have them going to bring my car there. And they said, well, not to sound kind of crass or off the cuff, but go ahead, because they're in the same boat we're in. None of us can get parts, and only the biggest shops have. And if you want to leave your car, if they have room for it, but your car is going to sit there for months before they touch it. So that we're not singling you out. This is an industry-wide problem. And that's what you got to get. There's got to be a backlash on a bigger scale. I think those people have to, but they have to know where to write. They have to know where to call.
Well, and that's where us hitting our politicians and maybe even posting it on social media as well. Get it out there, because SEMA's been working on this for years. Yeah.
I spoke at so SEMA has what they call the booth camp, and it's a panel discussion preparing the vendors to put on their very best booth presence. And one of the questions that was brought up with all the sort of, you name it, from Snap-on to all across the board, all your aftermarket scanning, testing devices, and so on. One of the questions was about the remote aided programming systems. I'll tell you, my theory is that the industry, we're already burnt out. We're dealing with an over and abundance. Is the client going to pay $400 to diagnose a CAN network system? So my thing during this panel discussion is we do need help. As technicians, as mechanics, we like to pound our chest. We fix things. We can fix it. But it is a new day regarding how, I think Opus is one. There's several companies that offer legitimate remote aided programming, remote aided assistance. I don't know how multi-stores do it, because you got to have a seasoned technician or a group of technicians to be able to diagnose these vehicles. I mean, you can't be code pulling. You got to be able to decipher data and so on. And so thing we need to do is help by having, if you have a remote aided system that will help technicians, I think that will ease the pain. Otherwise, hey, Ray, don't call me a mechanic. Call me a network engineer. Jeez.
Well, not if I can put my 2 cents on that, that's what we have.
You do, yeah.
We have that with our scanner, and we have that with our system. That we have, I don't know, I think we're up to over 100 technicians standing there, factory trained.
Yeah.
And for a price, unfortunately, it's a price, and you can have a factory trained guy help you, walk you through on these cars. Yes. And the problem is, unfortunately, that you have somebody that's overly greedy on making money and charging. They want to charge the $1 million, but they don't want to pay to have it done right. They want to try to get away with as much as possible on that. And that's the problem with that, unfortunately. until that's why that's a two-sided on both those theories. Just like you're talking about the CAN system and going in like Chrysler and so forth, that's just there to regulate on who's been in their car because of what happened when somebody went through the back door and turned something off and they did not tell the customer, and the customer goes out and kills himself or a family member or whatever, how that happened. And then they try to blame it on the manufacturer when they finally found out that somebody was in there playing around. So, I mean, that's why we're all kind of stuck in this situation and nobody trusts anybody, because you got just like the politician. I'm here to help you and I'm shaking your hand. Yeah. But as he's shaking your hand, he's in your pocket pulling your wallet out.
Trust me. So, I got this is pretty funny. Another friend of mine, he's an older fella. He's retired. He's in his 70s and he still works on cars and he does construction work. He's jack of all trades and does a lot of Corvette stuff. And he's done some restorations at a top class. He's done a lot of Factory 5 stuff, Cobra stuff. He works on pretty much everything. So he tells me he's got an 81 Corvette in that he's resurrecting again. It's got all sorts of shorts. And we're dialoguing that for a couple days because I'm trying to help him out. And then he says, oh, yeah, now on top of that, a buddy comes to me with a 2021 Corvette. And he wants me to put this LED light kit under the hood. And I said to him, do not cut or tap any wires on that car. I said, I cannot stress this enough. I said, with CAN bus, you touch the wrong wire and forget it. You'll shut the damn thing down. You'll have stuff not working for you. And then finally it came out that it's a standalone system that has its own battery power and whatever. And I said, okay, now it sounds like Christmas lights in the window. That's okay. You can do that. I said, I thought you were going to be tapping into stuff. Oh my God.
So here's an industry that struggled charging a test fee, period, because everybody wanted to do a free check engine light. It seemed like overnight, bam, here we go, controlled area network. Part of the problem, guys, and you chime in the comments, is we don't know how to provide value. We don't know how to present value. Most shop owners and service writers out there right now do not understand how to present the value, like going to a doctor. Now, that's a little different because there's insurance. It doesn't expose us that much, but we don't know how to present value. We don't know how to charge for a test. And because of that, we struggle. And my point on the SEMA booth camp thing that I did, this was 3 or 4 years ago, was to just say, hey, listen, those wrap systems, remote aided systems, that's the future. These technicians in the service base, they're burnt out. They can't keep up. There's no way in heck. And guess what? Can I charge $300 to $500 worth of legitimate time? Let's just use $100 an hour. 3 hours to successfully test something and prove 100% action and not throw parts and code pull and all this other stuff. So, one of the things that I do work with in the background, I hate the word coach, but I do work with the industry regarding how to stage like any other business and present value behind what you're doing. What's the language behind that? How do we explain what we're doing so that there's a what's in it for me?
Right. But like you said, just like you said about throwing parts at it, because I have dealerships that have basically kept one master tech and they hire a whole bunch of kids in there. They're charging $120 an hour. They're paying the kids $15 an hour. So they can throw as many parts as they want at a car because they've made up so much money and they're not paying these guys. So that's why, like you said, they've destroyed the value part of it, and they don't want to learn or teach or charge. You can take a BMW that you got to download or reprogram a computer. That takes 13 hours on some of those cars. Yeah, and nobody wants to touch it because they say, well, how do I get paid for this?
Yeah, Brian, that's exactly right. I was a few years ago at the school. One of the classes I was involved with heavily was our computer diagnostic repair class, and we were teaching the students they were all smart guys. They were all computer guys. So, but they had no idea about the real world. So we would kind of pose these ethical questions and said, okay, you put a hard drive in a machine for a customer, and then you formatted it, and now you got to reload it. So you're going to load Windows, and you're going to load Office and all those programs that we said. We all know what it takes to do that. There's a lot of sitting and waiting, press the button, sit and wait, press the button. It's like, how do you bill for that? Are you charging them for your time that it takes, or are you charging them a flat rate? And you can start seeing the wheels spin like, oh, yeah, I never really thought about that. Like, a full install of all, and then you got to debug some of this software and make it work with other programs. And they know what it takes because they've all done it a million times, but they never thought about it in a business setting. And these guys were going to go out, most of them, and try and, make a living at this. Mm. And once you start putting those questions out to them that way, you start seeing the wood burning. And they're like, wow, yeah.
Well, that's even on the flip side of that is that, in my case, when you learned the one car and you learned all the ins and outs, and you could fix a problem in 20 minutes, and if the book said it was 2.5 hours, they didn't want to pay you, for what you learned to do that. Right. That was another whole problem with the thing. Now the dealership or the man with the name of the building, he wanted the 2.5 hours because that's what the book said, but he didn't want to give it to you.
Right.
And that's the whole problem. And like I told them every time, if I make more money, you're definitely going to make more money.
I remember we spoke about this in the past when my brother was at the Porsche dealership. They did that. Everybody knew what jobs, and it was a lot of recall stuff and whatnot and come back. They knew what they could do fast. So the service writer would kind of shovel that, put that stuff in the hands of the guys who could do it quick, or the guys would swap it off themselves. And what they did is they had a system where at the end of each week, they looked at each technician's efficiency rating, or is how with a 100% system, how much over efficient or under efficient they were. And what that got them was points, and the points translated into darts. And at the end of the week, each guy got to throw X amount of darts at a dartboard. So I would have been great at that because I was a dart player, but and then they could win prizes like either a cash prize or I know my brother a couple times had a weekend away at the company resort up in upstate with a company car and a gas card.
Nice.
There were
the price is right, man.
Hey people.
Yeah.
This is
but see, that was I'm sorry, Frank, but that was a different era. Because that's just like I said, when I started out, when I was at the Porsche, it was a family-run business. Mr. Tischer was an awesome guy. He started out as a technician and worked up to have a dealership. And, you were family and they took care of you. Yeah. Now, once they sold to a big company and you just became a number, and it was a money machine then. That's all. That's what the bottom line was. And that's how this whole industry's come. It's a kind of a self-destroying, just like Lee had said, how you could see when we started doing this, and you can go back to different occasions, the downsize or the fall of the car, and it was cash for clunkers. When they started cleaning cars off the street for, with cash for clunkers, that was the start. Because I saw the change in my paycheck from not working on old cars anymore, because they were cleaning that stuff up, and we were only stuck with newer stuff, and you didn't have that. And it's just unfortunately, until we can all trust each other or get in line about making money right, this whole industry will be always screwed up. Somebody will always be stopping somebody.
What I've been seeing now is when we take in an older car, because we do that, and that usually funnels to me. That's what I do. And I've heard the backlash from the customer. I don't always work with them directly, but I get into it sometimes. And I hear them say, hey, how come, why is this? There's been like 15, 20 hours already on this car, that they had in the backyard. They want to revive it. And they're like, this was supposed to be a cheap car for me to drive and save money because I was using my old car. And they don't understand. Well, you let it sit for 8 years out in the backyard without doing anything to store it. And now you want to revive it. We'll revive it for you, but it takes time to go through the systems. And they're not putting it together that, it's an older car, but it still costs money to get this thing working and make it safe. You know, they think it's just going to magically, you know, you're going to wave a wand over it and they're going to be driving in 96.
Oh yeah, well it's insane because in the last 2 weeks I've took notice here that in my dealerships, and like Tuesday when I was at my Lexus dealership, I was talking to the kids there, and of course they're all young guys in there because like how the platform's gone, they keep one old guy and a whole bunch of young ones. It's
Right.
daycare. But going along the line, every car that was in there was over 25 years old at the dealership.
What type of deal was that?
This was at the Lexus and at my Toyota dealership. And earlier in the week when I was at the Ford dealership, there were trucks and cars that were over 20 years old. We're talking early 2000 and late 1990s vehicles sitting there. And the kids were like, first of all, there's no information. The dealership doesn't even have the information because they've thrown all that stuff away. Mm-hmm. There's no parts. And they got that stuff.
Unless you have all data and motor on DVDs, and you can. That's what I'm always pulling up and running and printing out schematics and printing out. And
I can't take you to see it because of my collection here. But going along the line, I loved every new service director or manager that we had at the dealership because they always had their own idea of what they were going to do. And I'll never forget when the guy walked in, the one service manager, new guy, and said, "Hey, Brian, where are all these old books?" I said, "Those are all the old shop manuals for the older cars." He goes, "We don't need them. Get rid of them."
Get rid of them. Yeah.
And I was like, no, we still get them in. And no. I don't want that crap around here. Get rid of it. So they're sitting here.
Not only on that level. My last co-host, Joe, was at Standard Motors. And he called me a couple times and said, "You won't believe what's going on." I'm like, "Well, try me." He says, "They shut down our diagnostic room. They used to test stuff in-house." He says, "All the manuals." He goes, "I'm dumpster diving, for manuals." The next, a little while later, it was carburetor kits. I was in his house, in his garage. He's got boxes. I took pictures of it. Boxes and boxes of high-grade carburetor kits. So one of these days, are going to end up over here. I'm going to have to warehouse them for him. I know. His wife wants them out of the garage. So,
you're going to have Ray's carburetor on eBay. That's it.
Yeah.
So you guys, you mentioned the cash for clunkers. You guys are aware this green bill, and we're paying attention to it. In fact, I can't predict anything, but I will risk manage all day long. Mm-hmm. We are at the peak. This past year, post-COVID, has a lot of retail outfits that are seeing numbers that are like 30%, 40% year over year. Just astronomical, huge. Can't keep up. Stuffed base. And yes, a lot of them are old. I think the average year vehicle went up a year. I think it's 12.8 or whatever, where traditionally it had been floundering around 11 years. People are definitely keeping their stuff. However, cash for clunkers
is coming back.
Is the EV rebates, 7,000 to 12,000. We're paying attention to that. They may slow things down, we just have to keep an eye. And I want to speak on something, guys. Fear and greed happens in an automotive garage. Many shop owners over the years, they got greedy. They screwed the mechanic. And at the same time, they were hiring ex-aluminum siding salesmen to sell service.
Wow.
Yeah.
Think about it, right? So instead of providing the stellar service, providing the value, charging a labor rate that sustains paying six-figure salaries for mechanics that deserve it, forget the monkey board with the darts. I don't need a vacation. I need cash money to feed my family.
Right.
And those, I don't mean to rant, guys, but there is a movement in the aftermarket. It is a minority movement, but the fact is,
the minority is loud.
Those players are going away. I had a shop owner. He called me. You know what the name? I don't know this guy. You know the name of his shop? Half Price Auto. I shit you not.
Wow.
Half Price Auto. My wife gave him my number. I chewed her ass out. I said, "Why do you got to have Half Price Auto? I can't help him." But he is struggling. And I'm like, honey, you can consult with him. Tell him to change his damn name to start off with.
Yeah.
But you know what the problem is also? You got the consumer that don't want to spend that money.
I beg to differ. Hang tight. Because Terry, you make a good point. Listen, we do not present value. I don't care if you're selling widgets, rebuilding classic rides, or doing retail service. It is a lack of skill and talent in how we present value. You can charge all you want to charge if you are understanding how to present value. I'm not Italian. I'm not boasting. I'm proof of that. I had a garage where I said, what's my labor rate going to be? Back in 95. Well, this guy's 70. He's 60. I'll be 55 and clueless. You have to sustain a labor rate, and the number specifically is to be at a 62 to 65% GP, which gives you about 72% on labor GP. Those are the guys making 35 an hour with 50, 60 hours a week, which produces 110, 120% efficiency, that number you guys are talking about. The bones to the math of the business that's understood so you can charge accordingly. My labor rate then becomes, what do I need to have to price out to sustain damn good incomes, my profit, and what is that number? And not so we got to do a better job providing value, digging deep, because we're afraid. And we're afraid because we think, look, the consumer, there's the two sides of consumption. I'm buying a piece of clothing that I can beat up all day, or I'm going down to the fish market to beat the Korean up, give it to me for $8 a pound. We are presenting service. Service is value. It's not a widget that we're buying off of Amazon. And all of us can charge accordingly if we dig deep for that. You shouldn't charge accordingly if you don't know how to provide that level of service. And that's what's happened in the industry with a lot of guys that are burnt out and going out of business. They can't keep up. A lot of guys are leaving. There's a reason why Snap-on charges. If I look at a set for $500, sure, I can go elsewhere and maybe buy it for $300. But there's some value in buying Snap-on. There's some value in buying Snap-on. And so if you look at the great brands and individuals and talents, I had Dave Kindig on. Dave said something really sweet. He said two things. TV, go fuck yourself. I'm running my shop, and this is how I'm going to run my shop. Take it or leave it. I don't do drama TV. And number two, open your wallet, because I'm building and create art. How do you get to Dave Kindig level? Think about it.
Me and Dave were sitting eating lunch one day, and I'm talking to him. He's telling me the same thing. He's like, they chased me for 2 years to do this show, and I kept telling them no until they said they'll do what I said I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So
I just don't want, Terry, and I respect your viewpoint. There are bottom end consuming individuals. I get them in the garage. It's a minority. We've trained our people. It's not easy. The type of marketing, there's a lot of method to how you can attract the wrong consumer in your business. It could be just the message that you're sending out, regarding marketing. But I think for us as entrepreneurs, as whatever we do under hood, we're all carving it out, and we do have to stop and say we can charge accordingly to do it. We may have to dial some things in. Every one of us should get paid for what we do, including the mechanic on the watch working for an outfit. And it's absolutely ridiculous to think that you're going to get me to throw a damn dart at a board. And I realized that was 30, but man, pay me accordingly.
Well, that like you said, they used to hate me at the dealership because when I go in for my yearly review, they were saying, "Hey, we love you. You do everything. We don't have an issue. You're at a 1.5% comeback rate. You know the product. You do this, you do that, but we can't pay you any more money."
Well, raise your labor rate.
Well, they would raise it. They would raise the hell out of it, but and type of thing. But the funny part was they said, "But we need more production out of you." And then I would get my little book out and say, "Well, because they didn't write a ticket, there was no RO number, but I would write down the tag number of the car, and I said, well, on this car, you said throw on these wipers. On this car, throw in this light bulb. On this car, this was for free that the service writer wanted to do for the guy. And I understand you got to throw the customer a bone, but when you add up 8, 10, 15 hours a week that you're doing on freebies, don't come to me and tell me that I got to make my production more. Yeah. When you're letting $1,500 out the door.
Right.
You know, the other part of that, we've talked about it before, but it's got to come back in the conversation. Even if you do a good job, the mechanic diagnoses and performs the service correctly, and the car goes out the door, the customer pays the bill, they grumble, but they pay the bill. Now, if the parts you put in that car fail because of the problems we're having, now they're coming back, rightfully so, and they want that car fixed again, and they don't want to pay for it.
Right.
And you know, you're fighting one end against the other because, you know, and we've all had that happen. You know, comebacks are a bitch, and sometimes it's because of the way the job was done, but a lot of times it's because the parts were substandard. And there's that supply chain again.
You know, when I started my repo company, I left a repo company to start my own, and I talked to a couple banks, and they told me, well, what are you going to charge? So I gave them a number, and it's like, well, you're just starting out. How are you going to charge us this price? I'm like, listen, I've been in the business for 17 years. You know me, I get your cars, so you got to pay.
All right.
Easy math. You know what I mean? My service isn't going any lower, so why pay me lower?
Right. Right. You know, Frank, there was something else I wanted to come back to that when you were talking before about branded tools, about Snap-on. There's something that we pay for when we go, and you know, Tony DeFeo talks about this all the time. He's dead nuts right. Actually, no, I'm sorry, it's not Tony, it's Clay Kuhn who says it. He says, yeah, we all shop on tool trucks, and we pay more money there than we might pay in stores or at distributors or whatever. But what we're buying, we're not really buying the tools. We're not spending more for the tools. What we're buying is an interaction with an individual like Brian. We're buying that interaction so that we know that if we have a problem, we have someone we can go to. And he's absolutely right. You don't get that, you know, on eBay. You're not going to get that online. You know, you can spitball something. You could talk about different procedures and maybe find, you know, another way to do something, and maybe find some other tools that'll work as opposed to what you thought you needed. So again, you're buying into the human element, and that has to stay strong. It's the backbone of this.
Terry, and I put you on a pedestal, brother. When I watch you, I can watch guys tinkering on LS1s or what have you, but you bring an experience. You bring an experience. And if you said to me, hey, listen, Patreon, what have you, give me $5 a month, I'll give you some deeper content. Look, I could probably find others to watch, but you give me an experience, right? Going on the tool truck, that's an experience. It took me years to understand the concept of separating labor rate and a service experience. Because once you get that dialed in, money, I'm not boasting here, guys. Louis, you did the same thing. I provide a service. There's the big C element called convenience. Right. How much convenience is a value? Yep. I get lawyers in my garage, and I listen. It's going to be a day and a half, X amount of money. We never quote hours. We quote dollar jobs, right? And they're huffing and puffing. Let me ask you something. There's 3,000 other garages. You can pay less. How much is it for your time when you come back and you're down 4 hours, 5 hours a day? How much is that value? We have to do a better job presenting our skill sets and talents and sell the value. Convenience is all day long. That's part of value. If I call Louis Lee and I'm a bank and I need 18 cars this week right now because I need that cash flow, I don't care what Louis is charging because he gets it done. Period.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, Frank, are you going to PRI?
No, I can't. My kids got stuff. I want to go. I'll be doing Fuel Fest, and then I'll go dark in December because I'm burnt out and I need a break. Remember, I had quintuple heart bypass not too long ago.
Oh man.
Yeah, don't push it.
Yeah, but I'll take a break December, and then January we'll kick it up. I got some gigs. I just can't make PIR. My youngest has got a bunch of school stuff going on, so I'll have to commit to that for sure.
Well, we're representing for you. Me and Terry going in there and blow that place up.
Yes. Hey Terry, did I send you a hoodie?
No, send it because I'm gonna be going to Indiana, man.
Yeah, it's cold.
Yeah, you're gonna need it.
I have to watch it leaves.
Yeah, I gotta send some hoodies. Bad that way. I gotta actually what I gotta do. Maybe you guys can help me. There's a company that they actually when you send it, they do everything on the website. It's called something. T-shirts work for us, you or something. Because I don't have time. Just don't have the time.
Yeah, that's what I was telling Terry. I use Teesprings, and I put my design up, and they do everything. They even put my logo on the box.
Wow.
Now, we're gonna kick it. We're gonna get right. We're gonna, what's the name? Yeah, we're gonna get Coverman. What's it called? Apparel line going, and everyone's getting a shirt. I don't even you, Brian. I have a big old Chevy bow tie right on the top.
Yeah. Once I put it up on the site, I never even look at it again, and I get a thing on my phone that says PayPal. You just got paid, and I'm like, what did I get paid for?
Frank, you talk about service. You talk about service from the tool truck. I just got a text from a customer that lost a wrench. I know you can't see from the glare, but he's asking me, do I have the wrench? And here it is. And I just sent him a picture saying I'll drop it off tomorrow. That's what you're paying for.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Amen.
Our guys the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, try that with a box store.
10:30 at night, this guy's texting me, so that's what you're paying for.
Gotta go
that's hard.
Yeah, that's good.
Jim, are you going to PRI, Jim?
No, I had a chance to go and bailed on it, and then you guys all said you're going. Hey,
listen, it's just go on like Friday and Saturday.
Can't. But are you guys going to do like a booth or something? Are you going to like have something where somebody can meet up with you?
Well, we're going to meet up at Nelson's.
Nelson's the headquarters.
Yep.
All right, I'll have my buddy come and check you guys out because I know he's going.
So Frank, what's it called? Is not going. Okay. Let's see. Chassis John, you said you wasn't going to go, right?
Nope.
Who's going? Put your hand up. You're going.
I'll be there.
Justin.
Oh, hey, I'm not going to miss it.
Terry, run down and grab Ray. Bring him with you.
I'd love to. If he said, come on, we'd do it. Come on, Frank. Come on. Ray, we got to go.
You should go.
You want it. And bring that savory shirt.
Yeah, man.
Like the shirt.
The secretary at work today asked me, she goes, hey, is that one of those Dukes of Hazzard shirts? I was like, what? Dude, the judge, come on. GTO. I said,
and you know what? I give her a break because she was in the era.
I said, it's the orange. That's what it is. I'm like, well,
that's what it is. The orange.
I said, we're talking
and the font kind of looks like 70s, 60s. So I cut a little slack.
It was the orange. It was just the color that got her. So, but she's a bass player, so it's cool. I gave her some. I did cut her some.
Oh no, you got it.
We had a bass playing secretary. So,
Frank, let me ask you something.
What projects do you got cooking? What are you working on these days?
Me or who are you talking?
Terry.
Oh, right now I'm working on my '67 Chevelle.
How's that coming?
I got on a rotisserie. I just got through doing the rear end. I had to I hate to say it, but when I sent it to Mosier because I had a 70, because you can't find a 67 12 bolt. I like 12 bolts. To find a 67, I think 66, 67 are, I think they're the same, but they're different. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ray. But I think the 67 is the 1 year, and to find even if the 66, 67 are the same, it's like a needle in a haystack. So
what's different? Drum to drum length?
Yes, The 67 is more narrow.
I would think you're right.
That,
I believe
so that
that
means that the lower control arms are probably not in the same spot either.
I think they're going to be in the same spot.
They are.
But
but the rear is shorter?
The rear is shorter on 67.
You know, I'll tell you, that's the rear end that I have in my Pontiac, and the left tube is a little bit longer than the right tube. I mean, just by a little bit.
I think it's by like maybe a half inch, maybe.
Well, that's because
I don't even think it's that.
GM never put the rear in the car square.
Right. That's the rear end I have in my Pontiac.
Yeah, the pinion is offset to the passenger side slightly.
Correct.
So what I did when I said to the Mosier, and I was like, okay, fine, like hack off 1.5 inches, 2 inches, so I can have like a lip, a nice lip on that car, because like you figure it's I think it's a half inch longer, for a 70 as opposed to 67. So I want that half inch, to make it what a stock 67 would be. But now I was like, take another inch off. I did the measurements and all that, so it's going to fit. And what they did was, instead of notching that one little brace and put the Torino bearings, I got the bolt-in Torino bearings, axles. Instead of notching that one little, let's call it bracket, they cut the bracket and moved the faceplate inward a little bit, where the shock mount is. Yeah. And they didn't weld it up right. So basically I had to bring it down to the shop, and I welded like a nice little gusset, so I secured it very nice. And now it's to the point where I'm going to start building up the rear end and put it back under the car, put it under the frame, slide it, and then I got to do the body work. I got to do a section of floorboard while it's on the rotisserie and a couple of other things. And then I'm putting that car back on its frame.
You're going to run like a 3 Series tire, right?
Like when you say that, what do you mean? Like a
300?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna try to get 315.
Wow, yeah, that's big.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get 315.
Okay.
Because like I said, it went inward, and like I said, I did measurements, and where I think I might have trouble is in the rear, where the tub starts to go inward like this.
Yeah.
I think I might have a little trouble there, but I can always trim that up, and I'll make it fit.
Yeah.
Big old hammer.
There you go.
There you go. Make it happen.
I'll make it happen. And
the carpet in the trunk will cover it up.
Hey, that's not your regular cat. You got a great cat behind you. That's not your regular cat.
No, this is Memphis.
Another one.
What's up, Memphis? What's up?
That's
This
a cool
is the
cat.
most chillest cat. I can let him sit like this for about 2 hours. Yeah, he's the chillest cat. The other one's a lunatic. Where is he? He's around here somewhere. That one, you just think about picking him up. He's like running.
Right.
Right, Memphis? How you feeling, buddy?
John, you got any good jokes for us?
Oh God!
I know you do.
Trying to think. He was amazingly funny. He's got the Italian humor down.
And and trying to explain that to non-believers is kind of like,
oh my God,
it's a problem.
He did a whole thing about because his wife is Jewish.
Uh-huh.
So he got into
There's
this
a lot
whole
of
thing
crossover.
about food.
Yeah.
How Jewish people don't know jack shit about food. And when he has to go out to a restaurant with his in-laws, it's total torture because nothing on the menu is the way they want it to be. And then when it comes, there's always something wrong and somebody's sending something back and he gets mortified by that,
I have a couple of friends.
He had a whole bunch of good stuff.
I have a few friends who are Italian and Jewish marriages.
Sebastian Maniscalco.
Oh yeah, that's my man.
It works.
Yeah. He was good. He was really good. Did a whole thing about COVID. He came. That was one of the first things that he came out. He's like, it's so good to be, out doing stuff. He goes, but yeah, I know all you sons of bitches in Florida. You never stopped.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, yes.
Right.
You guys got the governor that knows what to do.
Yeah.
Funny.
Well, fellas, I gotta get ready for work tomorrow.
Terry, what's Yeah, you're looking a little dark here. You growing out or what?
No shave November.
All right. Yeah.
No shave. Is that what it is? Nah. This is like 3 days. It doesn't get much different than this.
I'm saying it's not as dark over here, but it's definitely shady over here.
I think it's the lighting. But
Maybe.
yeah, no, this
All
is
right.
this is no this is
Just check.
Is that your tan?
Yeah.
don't laugh. You do tan, you know.
Oh yeah.
I'm liking the afro, bro.
Well, I'm just gonna say you must have got a haircut too, because your hair looked a little wilder about a week or two ago.
Going back to Indiana, Michael Jackson style at 70. You know.
That's it.
There you go. There you go.
You know, one of my customers lived on the same block as the Jacksons.
Yeah.
And he's a good family friend. And as they were growing up and starting to do things, they would take him on the tour. And
Really?
when they were in like Vegas, Michael and Janet, they weren't old enough to be in the casino or actually in the bars where the stage was. So he would have to escort them from their room to the stage to do whatever they had to do, and then whisk them off, bring them back to the room. Yeah,
Wow. This is like before they got really, really big.
Yeah, this is like in early 70s, I guess. Yeah.
Wow.
He says you would not believe the world behind those closed doors you see in the hallway.
Yeah, he was Michael Jackson was 12 and 70. He was just like us.
Yeah.
But you know what?
They weren't allowed to be in
not
bars.
Too far away from his house.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Jackson Street. We might take a cruise.
Okay. Hey, let's make a trip of it, man.
Yeah, get out.
One of the things he said is, he goes, and this is something that a lot of people don't even talk about. He goes, Michael Jackson will curse you out like a sailor.
Really?
If you cross him.
Wow.
He said that dude's got he had a freaking the filthiest mouth ever.
Wow.
When he was out in public, he was like real quiet and like that. But when he was around the house, his parents' house, he would mother F you up and down if you looked at him the wrong way.
Yeah, Eddie Griffin.
He had the worst mouth.
Said something about that. Eddie Griffin was the comedian. He was just like, nah, Michael Jackson, he's gangster.
Yeah, he sure did.
I was really amazed by that.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Who knew?
Yeah.
No.
Hey guys, I got to fly. Just know if you need anything, reach out, man. It was good chatting. I'll try to see you guys again. Anything
Frank,
you need.
Frank, you recently had a guy from Pennzoil on the show?
Yes.
I would love to get that, and someone from an oil company, because the topic just came up again. It's always a recurring thing with us. Oil and filters, we're always talking about it. If you got contact info, I'd love to get in touch with one of those guys.
So Susie and I typically will get cell phone numbers, especially when we're dealing with PR firms, because these PR firms, man, I don't want to bash them. There may be some PR people listening to this later, but if you are listening, you guys need to communicate after the show.
Yeah, right.
And I'm not asking for a thank you by any means, because we love our guests and we have a good time. But I got your message, Ray, and I'm trying to reach out. We're actually trying to broker. It is Michael's Motor Alley. Michael Thomas is the gentleman with Pennzoil, and he's a great cat. He's a 40-year cat in the industry, and it was a great show. I mean, because you can only get away. I mean, how long can you talk about engine oil? Well, I guess you could talk a while for it, but
you can.
I would do my best for you, Ray, but please pinprick if you see any of the guests on there. Most of those folks we have contact with. So,
okay, good. Thank you, Frank.
You guys rock, man. Enjoy.
Hey, Frank,
be safe. Take it easy.
Yeah, you know how to get a hold of me. Get it to me. I'll get it out.
I can see. All right, brother.
Hey, we're gonna rock them in PRI.
You guys rock, man. Thank you so much. We'll be in touch.
All right, Frank.
Take care.
Frank.
Good night.
See you.
So Ray, I'm going to work on. I'm going to try to see. You got me thinking about redoing stuff that I shouldn't be touching.
Like what? Come on.
This carburetor. I got a Weber carburetor. And
what series of Weber?
I don't know. Kind of goes on a car.
I knew Frey was going to be like, "What's it?" I knew he was going to ask.
Well, I got to know, because I have a Weber on mine, because there's a lot of different Webers.
It's from a MGM, I think, or is that right?
Is it a side draft or a down draft?
Is the Venturi
Do they look like
sideways
this or they look like
or
this?
up and
Yeah,
down?
does it sit the side of the motor or does it sit
I
conventional?
don't remember because I bought it like a year and a half ago and it's been in a box, so I forget what it looks like.
What do you get that carburetor for, Lewis?
I'm putting it on a motorcycle.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I'm
that's
taking
good.
my
Motorcycles
No,
could be
man.
side
Side
drift.
drift.
yeah. So I'm
they're like
taking
a
off my
PPOE.
4 carbs. I'm taking my 4 carbs off, putting the Weber on, but I got to build a.
We talked about this. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna try to rebuild it. So I'll probably be calling you.
YouTube.
Well, yeah. If you could do the alternator, you could do the Weber. They're not hard. Again, it's getting the parts for it.
I got them already. I got the parts when I bought the carburetor.
I love hearing that. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, send me some take some pictures, send me some pictures or whatever, and then I can try and identify any kind of markings that are on it. Let me see that. Because I'll show you why.
I knew he was going to get up. I knew.
You got
Yeah,
10
you got
of
one right there. Yeah, you got one right there.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised not within reach.
I got to get up because it's on the other side. But we got, we keep books like this.
Haynes.
The Weber carburetor manual. This has everything with diagrams and
Sweet.
you name it, it's in here.
He's got stuff I would never even think of buying.
Well, because I work on this stuff, it comes my way. And I got to have the information. I got to have the info.
Somebody
You
came
gotta-
by to me with a Weber, I'd be like, yeah, okay. That way.
Yeah, you got a Fiat, right? Right.
Yes, I do have a downdraft Weber on my Fiat. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Cool.
That's why I brought it up to you because I know you's the man.
Yeah, it's just it's just another carburetor. There's nothing really weird about it. It's it's just everybody does things a little bit. I mean, they all do the same thing. A carburetor is a carburetor.
Well,
Now,
it's
what do you-
controlled
what-
vacuum leak.
Now I don't have
Exactly,
like a
it's
parts
vacuum.
washer or anything like that. So what do you suggest to clean?
Okay.
You could buy a can of parts washer cleaner.
Right.
You don't even need the parts washer. It's
So-
like a gallon of paint,
Yes.
and it's got like a basket in it.
Yes.
And you put your stuff in there. Then you can
What?
agitate it up and down.
And you probably won't find the stuff that I use. I'm using Gunk Hydro Seal, but
Napa
Berryman's,
sells it.
who does?
Napa.
Okay, Berryman's solution. People rave about it. I've never had any in my position, but they say that's a great cleaner too. You can even use kerosene. You could just go get a gallon of kerosene.
Kerosene's real good.
I mean, depending how dirty the carburetor is, like these 3 that I got last week, they were like in 3 different phases. One of them was like super clean and needed almost no washing at all. Another one was like super dirty, and the one in the middle was kind of like half and half. So, hopefully you got to clean. The Webers don't really get crudded up. They don't.
Okay.
So it should clean pretty easy. And then what you want to do is rinse it with hot water. That's why I put a hot water bib outside for my hose, because I'm doing it outside. Hot water and then blow it out with compressed air. That's super important. The majority of problems with carburetors is dirt. You get dirt in the passage, and that's usually all a rebuild is like cleaning the dirt out and changing the accelerator pump. That solves 90% of the problems.
You get stuff that builds up in the passages.
Yeah.
Like it varnishes up and it makes the passage smaller or it blocks it.
Right.
Needles and seats don't seat properly. It's all about clean.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Strip out everything that's in it and get those passages wide open. And, a lot of times when I'm messing with a carburetor, you get a can of carburetor cleaner that's got the little straw on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you put it in every single hole and squirt it. See where it comes out.
I went through a whole can of carburetor cleaner
Injection is
just
heaven.
blowing these things, through the passages yesterday.
Carb cleaner, brake cleaner.
Yeah.
You got to cut through the crud.
Right.
That's the whole thing.
And that's the problem if a carburetor sits with fuel in it, because the ethanol fuel turns into jelly, and that jelly then turns into like resinous varnish. Those are the hardest. Some of them you throw them aside and say, get another one. Get another one.
I had that problem with the carburetor on my portable generator.
Yeah.
It would run with the choke on.
Yeah.
When you took the choke off, it shut down, and it turned out to be the passages when you shut the choke were clogged up with that white powdery crap from the junk gas.
Common problem. Very common.
It's funny.
Easy
I
to
got
fix,
my
but it was a
Lamont.
pain in the neck.
I got the Le Mans started. I don't know if I told you guys. I
No.
did get started. I got it started after what? Last time was started in '96.
You didn't
Nice.
post it on
Nice.
your channel.
No, you didn't.
No, it's one of the videos that are up for. You're gonna get a personal invite on that one. Don't worry about it, John. You got you covered. But I got it started. I let the car run for a little bit. Right now, it's a 2-barrel. It's a 2-barrel, and regular Pontiac, intake, nothing special. And every now and then, like as it's running, you hear it like pop, pop. And I'm thinking it might be that car because, like, you got to remember when I first got that car, the guy had took the car off.
In the back seat.
And it was in the back seat.
Mm-hmm.
What a place to put it.
Yeah.
He didn't know what he was doing. He took the car off and put it in the back seat, and that's where the car sat for since '96. So I was just like, I wonder if there's anything wrong with this car. So
See,
the choke back up and everything.
I'm thinking along a different line. Think about the heads. Think of all those valves in different states of opening and closing for 25 years. And they had the valves that were open were under spring pressure for 25 years. The ones that were closed had no spring pressure, and the ones that were halfway. So camps, the springs weaken, and lifters weaken. I would say that's why I would look for that pop, personally.
What I'm going to do is I got the car started. It's a great video. No one sees the pop. No one hears the pop. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and just like, all right, we're going to go and put a 4-barrel on this because I got an old Edel Brock with a manifold. So we're going to put a 4-barrel on this thing, and then at that point, I'm going to probably just yank the engine out and put an LS in it. This is strictly for content.
Okay.
This is strictly for content. At this point, we're going to throw an LS with 6 feet on it. And I decided we're not going to put the GTO nose on yet because I think people would like to see this thing get resurrected. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And drive around for a little bit with that Le Mans nose on.
Yeah, do it in stages.
Do it in stages, yes. And then just be like hey, the final stage is building this car up. We're putting that
Drive it
GTO
around
nose
in
on.
primer.
And don't forget when you have to clean it.
That lady called me for that. She wants me to do videos with that. Yes, I will be doing that.
They want you to do videos?
Super Clean called me up and they want me to do a couple of videos for them.
If they send you a couple cases, cut me in.
Man. They send me the shirts besides you. Yeah, they send me the case and everything like that.
You probably clean a carburetor with that stuff.
I don't get no love from any products at all.
You know, I want to get. You ever heard of a company called Big Fat Fan?
Yes. Big
ass fan. Big ass fan. Big ass.
They're big.
Yeah.
How much are those fans? I'm just curious.
Oh, they're
thousands.
Big ass dollars.
Big ass dollars.
Yeah.
You probably seen them at SEMA. They're yellow and they're real big. Like the ceiling fans are probably.
They're like 12-foot diameter.
It's like a propeller. It's like an airplane propeller.
Massive.
They spin.
Really?
They spin real slow, but they move
Real
a
slow.
bazillion
They move a lot of
CFM
air.
Right.
And what I mean, like in a normal garage, what do you think? I mean,
You couldn't put one in a normal garage.
Couldn't put one in
no,
a
I mean like a
It wouldn't
shop,
fit.
like a shop.
Well,
You gotta have like a 14-foot ceiling minimally.
Right. Yeah, right. Exactly. What
Yeah.
do you think they would start at? Like $5,000?
Easy.
More than that? Okay.
Yeah, they're a lot of money. There's a
Lot of
Ford
money.
dealer. There's a huge, like, I don't know. I know they're the biggest on the East Coast. They are
My
probably one of
Lexus
the,
dealership's got them in. I'll take a
one of the
picture and
top
show you. I'll
sales.
send it to you, Terry.
Yeah, this Ford dealership has a ridiculous repair center. I mean, there's like 40 lifts.
Wow.
And they have like 15 of those fans. And you go in there and it's like air conditioning all year long. It's crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it
they
moves
just
the
move
air
so slow.
around.
Yeah.
Well, because they move slow because of the blade angle that they
It's
have. And
moving volume,
the amount of swept area of each blade is ridiculous.
You think about it, it's like a prop on a boat, the way it'll move the water. And by changing the pitch and the angle, you move more or less water. Same idea.
It ain't making the air any cooler. I mean, like it's just moving hot air. No?
Circulating.
It's circulating
It's
itself.
moving it.
Circulating. The first week that they had him at my Lexus dealership, everybody was pissed off. They're walking around with goggles because it was blowing around so much dust.
Yeah.
The dirt and dust around in the shop and everything.
Yeah.
These things.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. Yeah. It's really crazy.
Yeah.
And then you you have you reverse it during the winter time, and that brings it changes it pulls the hot air. That's what you're doing. You're moving. It's just like the ceiling fan in your house. You can reverse it, and it's pulling from hot to cold, cold to hot with the air circulation.
Right.
And then they reverse them and so forth. But they're big. They're huge. I mean, it's a hell of a wingspan.
Yeah.
Wow, I gotta check one of those things out.
Yeah.
They
Not
got
for my
80
house,
inch.
but the guys over at 612, they were asking, you ever heard of big ass fan? I was like, never.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They got an 80. Let's see, 80 inch. No, the 60 inch is 2,600.
That's the 60 inch, 5 foot.
Yeah.
I see the ones in the big shops. They're like 12-foot diameter.
Yeah, they're huge. I mean, I'll take a picture of it, Terry.
I want to see that. I want to see the big ass fan.
Their website's saying they're like a 24-foot. It's massive.
24 foot. Yeah.
84 inch 200.
That's just the part. That's not even installed now. So
yeah, you got it installed now.
Your install is
the hanger you got to have up there to hold that thing up there. It's like you need an I-beam.
And they've got to be put together right, or they'll wobble.
Oh, right. They got to be Yeah, it's balanced.
Now think of something with a 12-foot wingspan wobbling.
No.
That's
all right,
a problem.
Here's a 16-foot for 6,300.
Yeah.
They probably have some company that comes in that does the installation for you. That's like a ridiculous
I remember when the Tunnels, they put one in up in American Chopper. They'd put him. First place I saw him was on their show, and then I think the guy's Fast and Loud. They
Gas Monkey.
That's where I saw him.
Yeah, I was talking to them. I got their numbers somewhere. I was talking to them about doing some promotion stuff with one of my clients, and we just never got to it.
Big ass fan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I'm gonna give me some big ass sleep.
Yeah.
Good night.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, as always.
All right,
sir.
Easy. Pleasure.
Good to see you, Terry.
Loving that short leg. Justin, everyone. All right. What's the matter, Brian? You don't look. There you go. That's what I wanted to see. That's it.
I was saving the best for the last, buddy.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Lewis, we'll talk, man, because we gotta make those reservations and all that. I mean, like, we're set. We're set.
You better hurry up, brother.
No, I got the hotel. We're set. We're good.
We're gonna be in the same hotel with Nelson, so we're gonna get loose.
What hotel?
What is it? Which one is it?
Let me see.
I don't know. Maybe I'll surprise you. I'm not sure. I don't think.
Come on now. We're gonna have plenty of room. Justin, where are you staying? Same hotel?
I can't remember the name of our hotel. My boss said it's like right there.
Yeah.
We went a couple years ago when we were out of town a little bit.
Yeah. There's a hotel. It's like right there, like across.
Oh, the Holiday Inn Express.
Yeah. That's probably.
Well, let me ask you, how far is the venue from the airport?
I don't know.
It's a bit of a trip. It's a little bit of a trip. I
Well,
think it's about a half an hour.
Oh, that's not bad. I thought you were something like 3 hours. I was like,
No.
No, you might as well come to my house.
That's what I'm
then.
saying.
It's 3 hours.
I'm driving with you.
All right, I'm gonna jump off too. But Ray, I'll get a hold of you if I start on this carburetor. I might not. I don't know.
You got it. Hey, anytime. Call.
Hey, you know what? Next week is Thanksgiving, so we won't have the show.
Right.
But I've been talking to a couple different celebrities, and they might just call me and say, "Let's go." So if I go live, I'll let everybody know that it could be anytime.
I got nothing going on.
Yo,
Thanksgiving's here. It's just me and Barb and the kid and her dumbass boyfriend. By like 3 o'clock, I'm a free man. I'll probably be out here working on the car.
Wow. Let me ask you this though: is PRI that's on? Is that on a Thursday?
Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
So we could do. Are we gonna do something out there?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, for sure. Thursday, yeah.
Because you figure by the time, because it's only an hour. I mean, are they the same time zone with us?
No,
they're
one hour behind.
1 hour back. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, Here we are at the hotel at PRI, chilling.
I don't know. You don't have a very long track record being staying out late now because you guys get back to your room.
Yeah, he comes up missing. I'll be at the club talking about.
Yeah.
This conversation is over. Conversation's over.
I'm just looking out for you, Terry. Just looking out. It's love.
There's a real killer steakhouse and like Irish pub right around the corner.
Oh yeah, downtown.
Right? That place kicks ass and the food is unbelievable.
Listen, that is a nice town, man.
Not hanging out.
It's very nice.
Indianapolis is a real nice town.
Yeah. And Brownsburg, which is like a couple miles away, which is where the drag strip is, and you got everybody's team is there. Cruz Pedregon, what's his name? John Force, all of the DSR stuff. And now you're going to have Tony Stewart's team is going to be housed over there also.
Oh, really?
But the only problem is it's going to be in the winter. It's going to be.
I know. But see, like John Force has tours. DSR and Force Racing, you go there and they'll let you walk around. They have like
go see my boy's new shop, Antron
Brown.
Yeah, he's going to be at PRI.
Yep.
Yeah, they're all going to be there. They're like they live there. They literally live like 15 minutes from the convention center.
I'm going to call Ron. I'm going to call Ron Capps and see if he's there, man. We're going to kick it with him.
Ronnie's a good guy.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Yeah,
and
man.
and I don't know if they have it every year, but when we were there, they had some big party in the football stadium. Did you go to that? Mm-mm. That was the same time that I met you.
Oh, was
Lewis? Yeah, that same year when I met you and Lou.
I was with the wife, right?
No, it was I don't know. I saw you and Lou walking down the street that day. That's how I met you guys.
Yeah, my wife. My wife made me go get the car and bring it up and get her at the door.
Oh, yeah. So there's a.
Hey, Terry, I take that back. I take all that back. I know who has to be in the room early.
There you go. Hey. There's a tunnel. There's a staircase you go down from the convention center, and you walk in this tunnel, and you come up on the other side, and you're in the stadium where the Colts play. And Lucas Oil put on this huge party. It was unbelievable. Free booze, free hors d'oeuvres and food. There was a band playing. It was phenomenal.
Forget that. I'd be like, yo, Lou, where's the football, man? We got to go to this football field.
Yeah. That's a nice little stadium. It's really nice.
Yeah. The whole town is nice, man. It really, it's a nice getaway. Yeah.
It is. But
I think AFCO is down there. Not AFCO. Is it AFCO in Indiana? There's a whole lot of performance companies. We'll find out. I think it's AFCO.
Yeah.
I just think in Indiana.
I got a bunch of stuff going on, and I blew the big load in Vegas. That was ridiculously a waste of money. What are you gonna
Get on out there, John. We got a space for you.
Yeah.
I might work Thursday and take off Friday, or take off Thursday night and be there. Thursday.
You can get there fast. You're not far.
Yeah, I'm like 5 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not
that ain't bad.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be there Friday morning or Thursday night. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. I'm going to be there. I'm going to get out there Thursday night, hang out all day Friday, fly out Saturday.
Okay.
All
right, sounds good.
You gonna bring fellas? Right? You bring Tyler, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll. I had to see about work. I hate to miss money.
It's overrated.
Work's overrated.
That's why I'm leaving.
Yeah, but they give me this paper at the end of the week, man.
Yeah, I got one too.
See, that's why I got to hang up.
Nice.
Like you said,
I get one of them too. But you know what? I found out that after I leave, I'm going to get just a different one that's going to actually let me have more in my pocket. So I decided I don't want to do it anymore. So
yeah.
See, like me, I'm the one chasing that paper.
Right. Different story. Yeah.
Different story. Constantly chasing.
Yes.
Ray, did you find a place down in North Carolina?
Got some feelers out. The problem is, you can't. I can't commit to anything right now, and it's stupid. I mean, what's there now isn't going to be there when I'm ready in a year. So,
right.
I'm keeping my feelers open. I'm watching. I got a news feed that they send me every day from the area. I'm keeping in touch with people down there. I just talked to one of the guys in the physical plant at the school. He was in my office today, and he's got a place down just a few towns away. He's like, "Oh shit, we're gonna be neighbors." He goes, "We gotta exchange information." I'm like, "Yep, we'll be building our own little community."
There you go.
Hey,
Be just like here. Before you know it, all your dirtbag friends will be living in the
exactly.
same town.
Exactly.
I'm moving right across the street from Chassis John. That's my dream.
We would have a blast.
Oh, that would be a trip.
Me and you would have an awesome time because we could help each other out and we could do stupid videos. And then we can go do donuts in the parking lot.
Right.
I'm
right next to Chassis John.
I would love to live next to Terry.
I'm
We would
like,
have an
Chassis John, look out
absolute
the
good
window.
time.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. I
All
gotta
right,
go chase the paper, so I gotta go
Yes,
chase
sir.
the mattress.
All right, guys.
Yeah, I'm out
See you
too.
guys.
Okay.
See you later.
Good night.
So, John, you mean tell me that you don't have your daughter's boyfriend doesn't come out and help bond with you out in the garage or anything?
He's a fucking dick.
I gotta tell you, my older daughter, her fiance, they've been dating since they're in like middle school, and now they're 31 years old. And he avoided me like the plague. This kid, because he's a dirtbag, and he knew that I want to take him apart. And only now, all these years later, has he finally started to come around. Where my wife just tells me, "Oh yeah, I found out from Lauren, that Kevin said he was out and he found something for you for Christmas that you're gonna love." I'm like, what? He's buying me Christmas presents? Like, I wouldn't even talk to me a few years ago.
They're both 24. He has these aspirations that he's gonna be the next big DJ.
You tell him Ben there done that?
And he's into this EDM stuff, which
Oh,
I'm like, what the hell is
Electronic
EDM?
dance
Then my
music.
wife hits me in the ribs. Electronic dance music.
Oh.
I'm like, so in other words, it's digital shit. She goes, yeah,
That
absolutely.
music makes me want to kill people, literally kill somebody.
Well, this is what he does. And he samples. He's got a whole studio set up in their apartment. And he sets up, he grabs samples of this and samples of that. And then he modifies it. And he puts together this stuff. There's no singing. It's just a constant boom, 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 boom. They change the beat and then they add in all the other absolute, crap.
Yep.
And he made these samples and he was like, "Oh, you're really good friends with Shaq and he's a DJ and you think you can listen to my stuff?"
No.
And in the meantime, I heard stuff from Shaq, and Shaq was on the tables one day when I was there, and I'm like, he sucks.
Yeah.
And I've seen some videos. He's another one. They pay him $1 gazillion, and his mixes they're nothing to write home about.
Yeah.
So I took the memory stick, and I just threw it in the garbage. And a couple months later, I said, "Yeah, Shaq, he wasn't interested."
Yeah.
But yeah, the kid's creepy, and he's a little bit of a control freak.
Yeah.
And he's just one of them. Like a couple of weeks ago, we called up Morgan and said, "Hey, we're gonna go out to Costco, but let's go to lunch first, and then we'll do the Costco deal, and then you go your way, I'll go my way." And she was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And we show up, and he was like, "Oh, nobody told me. I didn't know that this was going to happen." And he was like throwing a hissy fit. I was ready to grab him by the neck and slam him into the sheetrock.
Tell him, look, it's like the military. It's on a need-to-know basis, and you didn't need to know.
He started throwing like a hissy fit. And we wound up, Barb looked at me, and I'm like, "We're out. See ya. Bye." He was like, "Next time we're going to do this, make sure you call me."
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, "Dude, I don't got to call you for nothing." So, yeah, ridiculous. So, yeah, I don't know how long this one will last. He's been around for a few years, but who knows? I think one of his problems is she makes more money than him.
Yeah, well.
And they're in the same business.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. They're in the insurance business, health insurance.
Yeah.
And she's moved from a telephone person up the ladder to she's managing groups.
Uh-huh.
And she was just recently given a group down in Fort Myers that's floundering.
Mm-hmm.
So she's doing what she does to bring them up, and he's still a sales guy.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that may have something to do with it, but whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, it's Thanksgiving's not a heavy duty deal over here this year because they have to go spend time with his family also.
Well, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So well, no, he very dysfunctional family on his end.
Okay.
Yeah, his father was never around, and
Right.
20 years later he comes back. Mom's divorced twice. You know,
Wow.
Got a boyfriend, so I'm like, okay, go spend time over there. I really don't care.
Yeah.
do what you got to do.
Right.
Yeah. So Thanksgiving here is, you know, my wife slaves like a maniac, and it's over in an hour.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Right.
Much.
Yeah, like I said, I hit my personal best. I built and had that lasagna in the oven in an hour yesterday.
I gotta go hit up. I found, oh man, I got a new customer owns an animal hospital up in Tampa, and as I was going there, all of a sudden I see this big giant sign, and it's this Italian market.
Oh, cool.
And I'm like, oh, I
Nice.
gotta stop in there because on the sign it said, you know, sauces, pasta, meats, cheeses, the whole deal.
I'll tell you what we did. My wife picked up at Uncle Giuseppe's. You know, the noodles are always a pain in the ass because you gotta boil them, then take them out and hang them, and you gotta everything revolves around the noodles being ready. But now Uncle Giuseppe's makes this. It's a pasta sheet, and you literally just lay it in the pan. It's like one sheet of pasta, and then you build lasagna on top, put another sheet on, makes it, and they're pre-cooked, and it's fresh. It's fresh. It's not pre-cooked. It's fresh pasta, and that's probably why it went so fast.
Sure.
And then you throw when you put the ricotta mix on it, usually when you have 3 different pieces of lasagna noodles, and you're trying to trowel out the cheese, the noodles are, they're getting all caught up. With the one sheet, it just you put your finger on it.
Nice.
And then, but even now, I mean, even just to mix that up with the parsley and salt, pepper, and egg, your arm is killing you stirring that stuff. So I use 1.5 pounds in the lasagna.
Yeah.
And then easy, tent it with some foil, throw it in the oven, bake it at 375 for like 35 minutes, take it out, cool it overnight. I dropped it off today. I know my friend Kevin and his son, the 2 of them are going to just destroy this thing. There's going to be nothing left. The 2 of them will eat the whole damn thing.
You know, Barb did I don't know, last year or the year before, she did some hybrid stuff. She did some real thin slices of sausage.
Okay, I tried that.
And she also did cooked up ground beef.
Yep.
Crumbles. Laid it in there. And it was like, wow, look at this. I got my meatballs and my pasta together, Well,
what we do is, earlier in the week, we made the sauce and we got, probably 24 meatballs, sweet and hot sausage and a braciole in there in the sauce. So, we had sauce during the week. So now we take that out again. I kind of warm it up. And what I do is I take the meatballs and I take the meat. The meatballs, the sausage, and the braciole. I put it in a stainless bowl, and I take a potato masher. I just sit there and I mash it, and I twist it and push it. So I grind all that stuff up, and that's my meat mixture. It's the 3 different meats. Yeah. And, of course, the mozzarella, got to have that on here and lay the sauce on. So, but, yeah, it's I made Brian hungry. Poor Brian wanted dinner for breakfast. I sent him the pictures.
Yeah, starting my day. So much for stopping and getting coffee. I had to go find something to satisfy him.
Yeah, you gotta get a meatball hero.
Hero. There you go.
Right.
The other day I went into we got a whole bunch of Circle K stations here.
Yeah.
They've got, because I don't like those processed eggs. Like if you buy an egg muffin,
yeah,
I don't like that. I don't eat eggs, but
I like it. I love eggs. I just like the process.
They've got on a pretzel bun. It's a sausage patty, and it's got a pepper jack cheese
Okay.
And it's on a pretzel bun.
Never had that.
So and they wrap them up, and then they put them into that like tray that keeps everything hot. So when you get it, that cheese is kind of melted and crusty.
Right.
And you bite into that thing, and it tastes real good, and it's got some bite to it.
Yeah, the pepper jack. Yeah,
the pepper jack cheese, and then there may be a little bit of bite in the actual sausage patty. I'm not positive on that one though.
Right.
Kind of blaming it all on the cheese. They're phenomenal, and they're like
and you need, what you need with that is some of that mustard to go with the pretzel and the sausage.
I'm thinking a couple. You put some hot sauce on there.
Yeah, but you mix them. You get the mustard with that. That is a die for them, dude.
Golden mustard, right?
Yeah.
Not the yellow stuff.
Deli mustard. Yeah, deli mustard.
Deli mustard.
Jewish deli mustard. The tampy.
Yeah.
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 Right.
We have a bottle of that.
Yeah.
And I got a couple of bottles that lately, I guess for the last couple of years, we've been buying the one from Boar's Head.
Okay, yeah, Boar's Head is good.
Boar's is good.
But you were saying about experiments. A couple of years ago, there was a thing going around from White Castle about like stuffing the turkey with White Castle burger, and I did it. I actually went to White Castle. I put a big bag, and we just stuffed the turkey with White Castle burger. Yeah, it was all right. Men's a men's.
With the buns and everything, right? So it made a whole thing.
Yeah.
I still haven't gotten to that place in Orlando.
Yeah.
Every time I go by there, it's a mob scene. I guess I gotta go like 2:00 in the morning.
Well, yeah.
I have to wait till my wife goes on one of those trips that she takes
one
to
of her
Europe.
junkets.
Yeah. I mean, I could just leave and go there.
That's probably like a 45-minute drive. You said, right? Yeah. Gotta find.
Every time I'm in the area, I go past there on the way home, and it's packed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't have time to wait around here because Orlando traffic is ridiculous.
Yeah. You know, Brian, I thought you'd say when we were talking before about prices and stuff. We got our local Ace, right? So the inside of this thing is just like tools.
Mm-hmm.
But what I saw on the cover, I had bought this last year. It's a Milwaukee kit. It's the drill and the 1/4-inch driver, and they put it on sale now for $99.
Yep.
With the charger and the battery. It's like they are. I don't know what the game is here, but it's like talk about, throwing a
great deal.
$100 for that is like, holy shit, that is cheap.
How many volt?
Really cheap.
That's the M12 stuff.
M12,
Yeah, it's a Milwaukee M12 lithium IM. Yeah, it's the drill, the driver, the bag, the charger, and is it one or two?
The only catch-22 with some of that stuff, and you got to look at it real close.
Two batteries.
It's the battery.
Yeah,
it's the amp hour of the battery.
It's which amp hour of the battery?
Yeah, it can be the 1 or the 1.5. Yeah, it's probably
that's the only catch with that. But again, like I said, it's not the end. But you gotta my competition there, the guys in the red and white trucks.
Yeah,
they started that with against us about 2 batteries. And they would have one good battery, one 5 amp hour, and then the other one was an hour and a half, 1.5 or 2 amp hour.
Right.
And then even on top of that, one was a Nike and one was alkaline. Was that alkaline?
Yeah, these are lithium ions.
Lithium ion, and then the alkies. So you got one really shitty battery.
Oh, okay.
And one really good battery.
I know the kit that I bought had 2 lithium ions in it.
Yeah, but you had to watch out for that stuff because,
I bought the bigger ones from you.
Right. And then when we had the bigger batteries, then when like I said, we had these big ass batteries, and of course we're, $1 million, and they're like, oh, well, why pay so much? We still give 2 batteries, but one was decent and one was shitty. So you just kind of have to look between the lines on what they do on that.
All right.
But those things, as in my business, is called a loss leader.
Yeah. You're right. And you know what? I got to tell you, I use that stuff at home, and as a homeowner, and a hobbyist, I mean, the batteries last forever. That tool's never going to break or wear out on me using it at home, because you don't use it every day. So the value for that is like unbelievable.
Yeah,
it's like
that's to get you in the door, and you pick that up, but they want you to pick up another $300 worth of stuff later on. I mean,
and you probably will. Yeah, and you will.
Upsell.
So speaking about bigger, I know did you buy that Cadillac today? That Caddy model, the car,
not
the muscle machines. Yeah. Oh, you did buy the kit. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Nice.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Well, I brought home a Caddy too.
Oh, look at that,
man!
This was the Bratz Caddy, and I got to show you what this thing does. All right?
Oh, look at that.
It's got lights.
Holy cow.
Not only that,
Man, I'm tired.
I don't know if you're going to be able to pick this up or not. Let me see. These controls, they're on the center stack.
Is it the radio?
It's got a working radio.
Get out of here.
Oh, the speaker's up here.
Yeah, look at that. I can barely hear it.
It's not pulling in.
It's a real radio?
FM radio.
Oh my god.
It's not pulling reception because I'm in the basement. But yeah, it's got
Easy, Ray. Easy. Calm down.
Yeah, it's got opening,
Wow.
open doors. It's got a full interior.
Who makes that?
I don't know. This was from. You open the trunk. The batteries are in the trunk. This was the Bratz dolls that were out in the 90s.
Oh yeah,
dolls with the big eyes.
Yeah. No, I was just what was on the bottom. It should say on the bottom of the manufacturer. That's okay.
It's got a sticker, but that's just telling you that it complies with FCC regulations.
That's for the radio.
What does that say? Butter? No, 2002 MGA Entertainment.
Yeah. Okay, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
But my daughter, when the older one, when she was into the Bratz dolls, I guess we got her the car for Christmas.
Yeah.
And then, like a few years later, I guess we're going through things, and I see this thing in the garbage. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? You can't throw that out. And my wife's like, what are you going to do with it? I'm like, hey,
Put it on the shelf.
So I took it to work, and I had it behind my desk. I had it sitting there behind work, and I'm looking now. I'm cleaning out my office and everything. I'm like, you know what? I got to bring the Bratz Caddy home.
That's it.
But then when you showed me the Caddy this morning, I was like, oh, I got to.
Yeah. No, like I said, I normally don't do the micro machines. I there's only a few that I buy, but I couldn't pass up the 59 pink Cadillac.
Right.
And
It'd be a shame if you did.
Yeah.
And it also, like I said, I love the 65 Coupe de Ville.
Yeah. I had a 65 Coupe de Ville.
I love that car. When you see one of those, that's Cadillac right there, man. That's really good. But I also, later on in the day, I came across a great find. And that was Christine.
Oh, sweet.
58 Fury.
And this one is a green version. It's got the green wheels. This is a limited production. This is a chase piece.
Okay.
Because early, no. Well, I don't know what I did with it.
Brian's Toy Store.
He's got the other one somewhere.
There's an ex-New York City cop from like Westchester County that owns one of the ones from the movie.
Yeah. It's got hubcaps.
Yeah, this one's got the regular wheels. This is a regular piece. And so just like on the Hot Wheels and all these cars, they have a chase. And the chase is with the bottom is green and the wheels are green. And so there's like it's usually like 2% of the production are these.
So what does the chase mean? What does it mean that it's a chase piece? I mean, I understand it's limited production, but
because of the green wheels. It's to hunt the limited production of the car.
Oh, so you have to chase around trying to find that one.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So when a case, now they're not in all cases. Like this particular case, there was one regular and one chase, and in this case was the A-Team van. So you had two of the van with it, and there's I think in this I think it's 4 or 6.
What was the
Maybe
18?
it was 3 and 3.
Was that a Chevy or a Dodge?
The Christine was a Chrysler.
The 18 van.
Oh, that was
I know that's
Well, Chevy.
that was a Chevy. Actually, I got it right here.
Or C20.
He's got it.
Ryan's Toy Store. You collect any toys, Justin? You got any?
Got some Hot Wheels.
Yeah. Who doesn't?
Right. Yeah.
I don't have any.
I don't know. As a kid, I started collecting them, so I've got quite a few unopened. Probably a few
I
hundred.
got Aurora slot cars from
I
when
do
I was
too.
a kid.
I go all the way back to the vibrators.
In the pit
It was
case.
it was a 83 GMC.
83 GMC.
Oh, it was a GMC.
Hey, there we go.
Now it has. See, this one's a chase piece. It's green.
Right.
I couldn't leave this one on the shelf. I have a guy that I ran into that does these, and supposedly, I don't know if because of the holiday, because of Thanksgiving this weekend, he's got a couple of the Hot Wheels I want. So we're supposed to do a trade.
What does that thing retail for? Those
These are in the store. They're $25.
And what store are you shopping in?
Target.
Target. Wow. Okay.
Okay. So these are about $25. They resell on eBay anywhere from $40 to $65.
Wow.
On a chase.
Nice.
Except they're going to sit in Brian's toy shop until.
Well, I hope. I mean, like I said, I met this guy. This is the first time I met this guy, and he has a couple pieces that I'm looking for. He said that he would trade, but we'll see what happens.
John, I'm like 8 feet away from my file cabinet that has all the Aurora and AFX cars in it, man. We could do a comparo.
Oh, come on now. I go get mine. Actually,
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Oh, I got that AMC. I got that same car.
Oh, the Javelin?
Yeah.
Yeah, this was Mark, what's his name?
Donahue.
Mark Donahue, yeah.
Yeah, I got that too. Got that.
I got Petty's. I got a body for Petty.
Yep.
This is one of my favorite cars, the Ford GT.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I custom painted it. I painted it purple and then put a stripe on it. I got a Mustang convertible that lost the roof. There's all these pins from the track.
All right. It's
Was
game
that
on.
64 or 65. And I opened up the wheel wells. I put big tires all around. And then I got two 68 Z28s.
Yep.
Nice.
And I got 2 bottles of the red oil. Remember that stuff? And that stuff is still good in there. It's really weird. And then I got a whole boatload of motors and armatures and magnets.
Yep.
Gears. In here, I got a whole thing of tires. Every kind of tire you could think of. And then on this side, all kinds of wheels. Wheels and axles. All
That's
these
how
little
that.
all these little silver wheels.
That's how that was made to do that.
Yeah.
This is my original box.
I got a boatload of magnets.
From the late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah, so your box is the same as mine. But mine's not as discolored as yours. Oh, yeah, look at that. You got everything.
Yeah.
These are all. This is a rare car. This is a Camaro. This is a 68 Camaro.
Yep.
Yep.
This is a Chaparral.
Yep, the Chaparral. I got that.
This is one of my original cars, the Ford, the GT40.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've had this car for 50 years.
It's big money.
Cool.
It's big
More
money.
than 50 years. And I got another one. Oh, the wheel just for these are those little tiny tires. But here, John, this is it's another Chaparral. This is a Chaparral.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yep.
Oh, is that what that is? I always thought there was a Ford GT.
No, it's a Chaparral.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So that's what I have that I repainted purple.
Yep.
Here's a Cougar. Got a
Nice.
Cougar stock car.
Cool.
And there we go.
Where's your Nomad?
I like the Cougar.
Oh well, this is just the first box.
Oh, you
Because
got-
when I posted my Nomads, you had the same ones I have. The green. What was it? The green. I don't know. I got them on the other side of the garage.
These are early. These are the first the second gen. These aren't the vibrators. These are the real early ones with the skinny tires. The Thunderjets is it?
Yeah.
So these are the real. Yeah, and this was my. I scored this. It's a Good Humor ice cream truck.
Nice.
I scored this years ago. This was going for $1.25, 25 years ago.
Yeah. Wow. So all that stuff's insane now.
I got a 69 GTO. Some of the stuff I haven't even. This is.
I don't know what happened to any of my track. I used to have a ton of track.
I got boxes of track.
Boxes and boxes.
And I had the controllers. I had the ones that
you
push button.
Yeah.
There's your AMX. And again, with the I cut the rear wheel wells too on that car.
Yeah. And I had the ones that looked like a little dashboard
with a steering
wheel.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then these are even more.
Even more.
There's all your British
Those steering wheel ones are good because you could just set the speed and walk away. Let the cars go, you know.
All right. Show you the fun stuff.
Me and my friends, we used to break the thumb ones.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of like carbon discs inside there. And if you squeeze them too hard, they'd break and then the thing wouldn't work.
Yep. I have boxes of those things.
Yeah, I don't have any of that stuff anymore. I don't know where it all went. This thing managed to survive. Along with
we go into tackle boxes.
I have a really, really old Lionel locomotive and tender with a whistle in it. Big smoke.
Look at that.
Oh, look at that. Oh, that's cool.
There's the setup.
This should be where, let's see, Brian. Let's see. Oh, this was one of my fastest. These are the new AFX, the Grand National. It's a chrome Grand National. This thing is fast.
Wow.
Oh, check this out. This is one of my favorites. This is an AFX. It's a Vega. It's like a Vega funny car.
Yeah.
Back. I love this one. That's a cool one. Even got the
I had a green Nomad and an orange 55.
Winged Warriors.
Oh yeah, wing car.
Let's see. We got a red 57. That came in a kit with a Willys. Here's one for you, Brian. This is a BMW. A BMW race.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That's weird stuff. Eclectic.
Trans Ams. Trans Am.
What year?
This is good question. It's got
put the front to the camera.
It's got the 4 headlights.
That's got 4 headlights. That's 79 to 81, like mine.
Yeah.
Oh man, you should paint that up like Half Breed.
Right, yeah.
There you go. It's cool cars.
59 Corvette.
I had one that I took a Matchbox body and put on, and you don't mix a metal body with electric track.
No.
Not cool.
There you go, Brian.
Yeah.
Now this, I think, a 930 maybe. It's got those.
Yeah, it's 930. Yep.
With the big tail.
It's 911. It depends. A 930 it just means it's a turbo. A 911 is an aspirated motor. A 930 is a turbo motor.
I didn't know that.
So let's see. Then we got to go to.
It's like a 944, and it is they call the 944 turbo, but it's really a 951. Look at that. There's the. I see it. I see the.
Oh no, that sounded like it fell.
This is it's like an iridescent purple colored Nomad.
Yeah.
Then there's a.
Yeah, we're talking about Porsches. The one jumped out at me. See?
Yeah.
There you go.
The brown 55. There's an orange 55 with green tinted windows, which is cool. It's got the.
I got one. I got that one, but it's in blue. Blue. I got a blue and green one. Yeah.
Blue 55.
No, that's not a Nomad.
No, it's
a
55.
And then I got an orange 55 like that.
Same 55 with, white.
Oh, that's bad. Yeah.
Nice.
And then there's a yellow one with blue tinted windows, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's some awesome stuff.
Check this out. It's a rail.
Rail. Yeah.
Actually, a rail.
Yeah. That doesn't have anybody's name. It's not the Snake or Perdone's.
There's no name on this, but this one is called the Express Fueler.
Yeah.
It's a wedge car.
Yeah.
That looks like the one Perdome built.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Perdome built a wedge just like that.
Right, and they would do
So
that.
did
They
Bernie
would,
Shacker.
yeah, good old Bernie.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I got all the stock cars. My favorites are the Camaros. Your second gen Camaros.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah, I don't have. They're still upstairs. The ones, my rat fink ones.
Boy, you got into this really deep. Me, I stopped.
No, you know what? I was going through shows at the Marriott.
I stopped around 1970 on it.
I got cop cars. I actually have a cop car with the lights actually flick. I got winged cars. I got all the NASCAR stuff. But there was a show at the Marriott in Melville. Another AMX.
Yeah.
Used to go out there and and buy stuff.
I got a Davey Allison Thunderbird one that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, semi truck.
Oh, I got a semi too. I don't have the bottom part anymore. I just got the body. I don't know whatever happened. Yeah, the trailer and everything. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. Now that I got those, now that I got the Rat Fink track, I'm thinking about I might have to figure out how to put one up and so I can run around.
This thing's a Rolls Royce body.
Yeah.
I got another box down in here. I don't even know what the hell I was buying stuff, didn't even know what I was buying. I mean, I knew what I was buying. I just
forgot what you had all this.
You're addicted.
Keep this in there, you know. What the hell? Another little pit box.
Wow, black.
Oh yeah. This is here's the Euro trash. This is the Euro trash box. Yeah. Another Porsche.
Yeah.
Porsche.
You probably have a. Do you have like what was that? A nine
racers.
Yeah, 956. 956. Is that what it was?
Remember the Elf car that had 4 front wheels?
Yeah.
Check this out. It's a Baja Volkswagen.
Oh yeah.
That's a real popular
Volkswagen
car in California.
Yeah, and I see
those all the time.
2 of these. I think. I don't know. I guess it's a Ferrari.
Yeah.
Looks like a Datsun Z car.
Maybe. That Elf one, I have that one too with the 4 front tires.
Really?
I have that and a Hot Wheels one. That's like that car's like $225, dude, for a Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
It's fucking insane, dude.
It's crazy. This cop car, when you run this, the lights on top flash.
Yeah.
They just ran wires up off the pickups to flash the lights. That's pretty cool.
How did they make them flash?
Huh?
How did they make them flash, though?
It's real easy. This one, too. This cop car, these lights, this is a Mustang. These will flash. It's just a neon.
I can see them lighting, because they just run a wire
neon.
off
All you got to
pickup.
do, all you need is a toroid. You just need a little coil around an AC source, and you'll flash a neon. It's real easy.
It's magic, John.
Source?
John, it's magic. Don't worry.
I thought the tracks were DC.
It's magic. Don't worry.
4 diodes. Done. No problem.
Picked up old original model motoring decals.
Oh man. Oh, Ray, you gotta stop, Ray. Gonna make me get more stuff out.
I keep watching you, and I'm saying, "Damn, come on."
Did you guys ever see the picture of a guy that took? I think it was like '68 Camaro. He took the real, actual parts to a Camaro, and he built a steel pipe grid and attached the parts to the grid, like when you buy a 125 scale model.
Right.
Oh,
pull out that,
I didn't see that.
And everything's attached to it.
Oh, cool.
Somebody built an outdoor structure that looks just like when you open up a box from a model.
Yeah.
And you got the wheels have like a thing attached top
right.
and bottom.
Oh yeah.
And he had the doors and the fenders and
I never saw that. That sounds cool.
Gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. It's just like a real model.
Yeah.
Like, wow, this guy's got a lot of time.
Well, I've said that. Like when I was, working on a lot of cars, when I did my Pontiac, my daughter, my wife, they were saying the same thing. Like, wow, you had that car all apart. It was in 1,000 pieces, and now it's like back together. How how'd you do that? And I said, it's just building a big model. That's all it is. It's just a model with metal pieces. It's like, once you know where they go, it's no big deal. Just, bolts instead of glue. And use glue too if you have to. But, just a big model.
About the same amount of instructions too.
Yeah, right. It was funny, just yesterday
mine
morning.
didn't come with any instructions. I'm just winging it the whole
They're
time.
up here. The instructions are up here. I came through the kitchen in the morning to go to work, and on the floor under the kitchen table was a little spring. So I picked it up and I put it on my side of the table. And in the afternoon, I came home. I went out. I came in with my little bin with all those, the parts for one carburetor. And I told my wife, I said, I found this on the floor. She goes, what's that? It's a spring. I'm like, yeah, but it's a stiff spring. I said, I knew immediately what it was for. She goes, how would you know? I'm like, and I showed her the parts of the carburetor. I took the adjuster screws out. I said, you see this one? It has a spring around it. See this one? It doesn't. This was the spring that fell off of that one when I went through the kitchen. I said, it amazes me how any of us, like, you look at a coffee can of parts and you can pick out and you know what the shit is. You just know.
I know.
That's so
weird.
You've done it for so long.
Yep.
It was like that in the engine shop when we would rebuild stuff. Bucket of bolts.
Right.
Yeah, that's a 4.7.
Right.
That bolt goes there.
Right. And it's like, I rebuilt starters and alternators and carburetors. I've told you can just mix all the shit up on the table. I'm going to know where it goes, But that's why when I had to do that K-car carburetor over the summer, I took it apart in pieces, laid everything out. And then after I cleaned it and came out the next day to reassemble it, I looked at, even though everything was kind of logically laid out, I looked at it and I was like, where do I start? I've never done one of these. I had no muscle memory whatsoever. I said, I just got to find pieces that fit the shape of the holes on the carburetor. And it took like 4 hours to put that thing back together. 3 cigars, 5 cups of coffee.
There you go.
I was playing old cassettes. I was playing my Stevie Ray Vaughan and Bob and Trower cassettes in the garage.
I got CDs. I'm a little more modern.
I got CDs too, but I like to use the cassettes. It's like I used to.
And I got my Bose speakers here on either side of the workbench.
Right.
That's how I could listen. Like I said, I could listen to you in stereo on Sundays. I got a set of
Serwin Vegas out in the garage that a friend of mine was tossing, and it was just the foam around the cone was shot on the woofer. I was like, I'll take those. He goes, well, they don't work. I'm like, that's all right. They don't work now. They're going to work when I'm done with them. He goes, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to refoam them. He goes, you can do that? I'm like, yeah, I can do that.
Heck yeah. There used to be a place in Hicksville that rebuilt speakers.
I didn't know the one in Hicksville, but I used a place called Speaker Kits on Jericho Turnpike in Belrose, where my mother-in-law lives. And they actually built me a set of speakers back in the late 70s. And the same thing. But now that there's a couple of places that sell the foam, you can buy it by speaker or by size. I got one next door. I'm doing one for a set of Allison speakers that I garbage picked. And you just refoam them. So I got these Serwin Vegas out there, and they're like, shit, these things were like top of the line back in the day.
Yeah.
Now they're in the garage.
We had Serwin Vega bass reflex cabinets for the bass player when we would do like big concerts, like outdoor stuff. We did a lot of parks and things when I had my band.
Yeah.
And he would bring those two, and they were gigantic. They were like 5 feet tall.
Wow. Yeah.
With an 18-inch driver, in the middle, facing backwards.
Yeah.
They were ported to come out, up and out, down and out.
Right.
And they had a big 18-inch bass driver in each one, and he would take the two of them and stand them next to each other, and then he put his. Steve used a big bass head from. He had a bass head from Peavey, and he also had a bass head from that company Acoustic.
Okay. Now they're using
a lot of watts.
Now, Crate and Orange are two companies that are building some incredible heads.
Yeah.
Incredible.
And
but Ampeg was
Orange
the thing you
and
have
Crate,
back.
they used to not be like anything.
I know, but now they really came up. I mean, you had to have an Ampeg head back in the day. That was the big thing, the Ampeg tube. So did you see the new thing Matco has, John? They came out with a electric lead guitar. with the
I
big
saw
macro
the video.
logo. And we're
the
gonna
video
get,
with the guy playing it.
we're gonna Clay his son was playing it. We're gonna get Brian some guitar lessons.
Yeah,
I've got
flipping through
5
videos on my phone.
I got 5 on order.
5.
Yeah.
I thought they only made about 50.
Supposedly they only made like 200.
Oh wow.
It's a nice looking guitar.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So I'm
sounded
hoping.
Sounded a little twangy.
You know, I think I saw the same video, and I think it was his amp. It didn't sound.
Yeah.
It was the amp. Yeah.
It was either the amp or the phone that he was recording it on.
Right. Right.
It was kind of.
So I just hope I get one.
Yeah, that's a cool wall hanger. That's a beautiful wall hanger.
That's awesome.
They got. So today I got an email saying that a handful of them were released because a couple of our distributors have them. I mean, they're showing them, and I guess they got bombarded with phone calls asking about it.
Yeah.
And I got an email saying that December 15th, I think, I should get mine, hopefully.
Do you have any idea who makes the guitar?
It's Gibson.
It is a Gibson. Cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
nice. I was going to say, you know what? If I know Snap-on came out with a guitar pick. It's a white pick with the black logo. That's cool.
Yeah, but you can't play that guitar with that pick.
No, you can't.
It's like opposite magnets.
Yeah, it won't even hit the string. Right.
Yeah.
No, but I was going to say, if the tool companies would make drum heads, I'd buy the drum heads, man. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Just contract with Remo or Evans. And
I was watching a video tonight, and there's this guy from the Chicago Drum Center. I forget his name, but he always gets some really cool old kits. And he was playing an old Ludwig pearl oyster kit. He says it's super rare, but on the snare head, it had like roses around the outside perimeter. It looked like they were like airbrushed on. I never saw that before. It was a really cool looking snare head. I'm like, hey, that got me thinking. Like, if you could have drum heads with whatever logos on them you wanted, that'd be cool.
I don't know what I did with I had the flyer or the specs of that guitar, but I mean they're pretty pricey, $600 or something.
Oh yeah.
Well, ain't a lot of money for a guitar.
Well, Gibsons aren't cheap to begin with. Yeah.
Oh, I know, but I'm just saying. I mean, I don't know. I was kind of freaking out when I said, "Damn, I don't know what I'm gonna do if I get them all." I don't know if I'm, like I said,
5 of them, right?
Trying to sell them, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's
yeah.
And then of course, hell, I had 1 year. I don't know, it was 65 or 75 inch, 4K TV. Buy a toolbox and get a TV. I sold 2 or 3 boxes, but nobody wanted the TV.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you get a free TV, and they're like, oh, that's okay. I don't want the TV. I'm like, fuck, come on, dude. What am I going to do with this shit?
Stupid.
And then I had, like, 1 year for summer, we had, I had a really nice barbecue set, grill, a whole grill and everything, a big grill. Same thing. Man, I must have given that thing away 3 times.
Really?
I'm like, I don't understand. So, and I wish I kept the grill because it was really a nice grill. I mean, for a guy that uses I have a grill, a smoker, and a fire pit, and I cook 365 outside on a flame.
Right.
It depends on what I want to cook and what I want to do it on. I should have kept it. Should have kept it after trying to get rid of it.
Right.
So, I don't know. Some of that stuff is weird.
I'm gonna hit the road. This stool from Northern Tool is killing my back, but I got to get up early. I got an early appointment at GMC to bring the truck in.
I'm going to send you a video. Justin, your email address is slingshot what?
Good question.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
You don't remember it?
I guess like a couple different emails. jairbets@yahoo.com is the one I use most.
All right, hang on. J Airbets.
Yeah. Honestly, I couldn't remember the other one.
Caught him off guard. It's okay. It's okay.
You did.
Sorry, dude.
Yeah. All right, I'm out.
All right, John.
All right, John.
I'll
See you,
talk
man.
to you guys later.
All righty.
See ya.
You looked sexy with Lou last night.
Oh, right. That was a good show. I had a good
Yeah,
time.
I was surprised. All of a sudden, I turned around. I said, "What the hell are you doing on?" And I'm not on. I mean, I thought I was, left-hand guy. Come on, man.
It was just I was in and out
He
of that.
reached out to
team.
me and he said, "We're having listeners on," and he goes, "And you got stories." He goes, "So send me photos. Send me photos of the birds. Send me photos of cars you built." He goes, "And we'll give you a segment, and you can tell the whole world that's listening about the history of Half Breed and all the crap that you did up in Chassis Connection." And I'm like, "Awesome, bro. I'll be there."
Yeah.
So it was cool. All right, later.
All right, John. See you
Later.
Thanks.
Take it easy.
All righty.
Yeah, I gotta get ready to run credit cards. The fun, wild excitement on Fridays.
Yeah, right. See who's left working.
What?
See who's left working. Who's
who's on the night shift? Yeah,
Who's
actually,
jumping? Who's jumping?
actually, this week when the cards hit, I might get a phone call because the guys, this week they're third shift getting off at 3 a.m. So
Really? Was
yeah.
that dealership?
No, it's the county bus lot, school lot.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
And I think it's can't remember. I know they changed their times. I used to go in. I did that for a short time. Go in at that was like when it was 1 or 2. That was a long day.
2 a.m.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's the first to third shift guys. I mean, they got to see you.
Yeah.
Wow, talk about working a long day.
That's I'd come and then I would do go out for the 5 when they shifted at 5 in the morning. That's when instead of catching them in the at 1 a.m. or 12 or whatever, I'd catch them when they were leaving at 5. I would go out at 5 in the morning, do that, then come back, grab the kids, take them to school, then go back out. That was.
Would you think guys would be more prone to buy at the beginning or the end of their shifts?
Well, this is what upset me, or I don't want to use the word upset me. This is what drove me crazy, because it was easier when they first got there, because they would come in and they would say, "Oh wait, let me go punch in." They go punch in, and then they want to come sit out on the truck for 45 minutes.
Right. Sure.
Now
I go to work.
Right. So then, if it was at the end of their shift, they would walk out, and I would say, "Hey, what are you going to do?" "I got to go home."
They want to, of course. I could see that.
So they weren't getting paid, so they weren't going to.
Right.
So then I had to go in a half hour before they got off to catch them while they were at work. And then, of course, depending on some of the foremen, they didn't want me there. They want me at the shift change, not while they were supposedly in production working. But,
I mean, that's always the issue with shops. The boss doesn't want you there when they're working, and the guys want you there. They don't want you there on lunch because they want to have lunch. They don't want
they want their time.
Yeah.
When it's their time, they don't want it. But if they're getting paid, or if it's the company time, the store time, then they're out on the truck. So but then the county or the state, is that state or county? State. They changed it where they were rotating the guys. So they would work, 4 weeks on this shift, 4 weeks on this shift, and then 4 weeks on this shift,
it's like the airport.
or whatever. Yeah. So I just go in between the second and third shift, the start of the third shift and the end of the second shift. It's about 2:30 in the afternoon, and eventually everybody cycles around, Right. And I don't do the late stuff anymore.
What about you, Justin? You have all the regular tool guys coming to your shop?
Matco's really the one that's most consistent. Snap-on guy comes every couple weeks, but those are the only two we have.
Well, of course,
our Matco guy's great.
You know, Mac ain't coming.
Yeah,
man ain't coming. That's right.
No. Oh yeah, our Matco guy's pretty awesome though. Like we were talking earlier, you're paying for the human experience.
Right.
I'll go pay a few extra bucks on his truck versus getting it online.
Sure. Yeah, a lot. People who've never been on a tool truck don't understand that. They don't understand the relationship that you build with your tool distributor. I mean, there really is a relationship there, and I mean, everybody could go, like when we had Sears, you go to Sears and buy Craftsman tools all day long, and they would even warranty them. But still, when you need something special, you're not getting it.
Yeah, it's quite amazing. Like I said, I unfortunately I had a customer that took his life earlier in the week or over the weekend. And 34 years old.
Wow.
And I started realizing that I sold him basically his first tool when he was like 16. So, like I said, it's like you said, the relationship and the stuff that, I've been to weddings, and family events and party. Like I said, you build that relationship, and it's really awesome. And sometimes it's hard. Like I told you a couple weeks ago, Ray, on your show, it's just not a job. It's a lifestyle. And some people are really good about turning the lights out at 5 o'clock and walking away, but they only do so. I mean, they only do so much, and
that's like the Snap-on guy was coming down to the shop. I haven't seen him now in over a year. I mean, I run into him on the road and I'll say hi to him, but I would talk to him, and like I said, he had been a dealer, I think, for 15 years or so, and then he went into the office. He went corporate. He became his own rep, and he was doing that for like 10 or 12 years, and now he decided he wanted to be back out on a route. So he came back out, but you could see he was just he wasn't the old tool dealer that came back. He was the corporate guy that came out. And even though he's a good guy and he understands both sides, he's a 9 to 5 guy. He shuts it off at the end of the day and he's done. And I was asking about, promotional stuff, all the crap that I like. And, oh yeah, I got that, or I've seen that, I can get that. But like, he never went that extra step, and I was like, man, that's what I miss. You miss having that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess newer guys who never had that before don't know they're missing it. So,
right.
Yeah. Who's your distributor, Jake?
Tom is his name.
And you're in
up in Michigan.
Michigan. Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, I'll have to see who that is. I mean, like I said, being around as long as I have, a lot of guys.
Yeah. Justin, how long would it take you to get to PRI in Indianapolis?
I think we're 7.5 hours or so. We're not too far.
How far up in Michigan are you?
We're about 2.5 or so from Detroit.
Okay.
So yeah, usually Autorama takes us about 2.5 or so.
Yeah. Cool.
So it's not too bad.
Right. What's going on in the shop? Anything cool? Anything new?
Oh, a lot. Working on a 65 Malibu right now, just getting it put together.
Nice.
That's been a cool one. SS convertible car. We got a lot of stuff. Guys got a really cool 62 Impala. We're doing a Roadster shop chassis and an aluminum 509.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Wow. That's going to be a killer car.
What version of engine is that? Because 509, that's not a size that you hear too often.
It's a W motor.
Oh, it is an original.
It's an aluminum block. There's a company that makes them.
Wow. And what about the internals? What pistons and crank? Are they supplying that too?
I guess so. It was all set up and built.
Did they get the displacement through stroke, or was it through bore?
I think a little bit of both.
Okay.
Like it's a custom piece.
Got aluminum heads too. Wow, that's an expensive freaking motor.
Yep. Yeah. This customer of ours, he's got 5 or 6 cars, and they're all just phenomenal.
I gotta show you something.
It's cool. He's the one that we're doing the 632 swap for.
Oh yeah.
Yep. He's got a 66 Biscayne that has a 572 in it now.
Damn. It's a lot of motor.
Yeah. But yeah, he got his name on one of the first run of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, once we get this one done, hopefully we'll get that one soon.
I don't have anything to put them on, but I do have a pair of these.
Wow, look at that.
Nice.
They're brandy new.
Wow.
They are. Wow.
Edelbrock 409 valve covers. This is NOS stuff. That's when they were closing out the AutoZeum and they were having a fire sale, and they told me, listen, anything you see on the truck or trailer, whatever you want, you can have. So I'm parts and I'm bags of electrical connectors I'm taking. And I come across these in bags. I'm like, whoa. I said, what about these? You're gonna listen, you want them? What are they for? You know what they're for? I'm like, no, I'll look it up. I'll be taking these, man.
Yeah, those fit a 305 small block Chevy.
You don't want them.
Yeah, it's off a tractor or something. Yeah. Just to hang them on the wall, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
That's
those are cool.
Is that Impala going to be a 4-speed car?
5-speed.
Nice.
Wow.
It was a 4-speed car.
Okay.
Wow, that's insane.
The entire, he's got the old chassis and everything out from under the car.
That's an X chassis in that car.
Yeah, X, right?
The 409 that was in it, which was like a high 500 horse 409.
Wow.
And the 4-speed, all Global West suspension, like super nice. He just bought another body we're going to put on that chassis and build him another car.
You know the history about how those cars were like revolutionary when they came out with those 409s. They like stood drag racing on their heels, man. That just made the Ford guys go nuts. I mean, that was like when the wars, between Chrysler, Ford, and Chevy were raging.
Yeah, it's been cool. I've been listening to Steve Magnante's podcast.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Through the beginning few episodes, he talks about Chevrolet stuff and a lot on the 409s.
Yeah, it was
cool stuff to learn.
So that guy took a very valuable car and then totally threw like a boatload more money in it to resto mod it. Like that guy's that's kind of customer you want.
He's got some cool stuff. There's I don't know if you guys have seen the flyer for Detroit Autorama coming up. It's got the wagon on the front. I think it's on their Facebook page. But at the bottom of the flyer, there's a blue and silver 46 Chevy pickup that we built for him. They actually made the flyer for Autorama.
Oh, wow.
Like another super nice Roadster shop chassis, LS3.
How long have you been in that shop?
January would be 4 years.
How did you get associated with them? How did you find yourself in there?
So I kind of bounced around, did a few things. I was a mechanic for my grandpa when I was a kid. Worked in an engine shop. And my wife and I had moved, and we were getting ready to kind of transition to a different area. And, I had heard about the shop before, but I just sent him a message, say, hey, this is me. This is kind of what I'm interested in. If you guys are looking for somebody, I wouldn't mind working for you. And the boss actually hit me back. He's like, yeah, we're actually looking to fill a spot.
Nice.
And so they got me in there, started out doing metal fab, various mechanical work. I'm doing a lot of assembly now.
Nice.
So,
What aspect of the car building process do you tend to like the best?
Gosh, that stuff. One of my favorites, actually, though, it doesn't even have anything to do with the building. It was just the customers. I've made some great friends with some really cool people that have owned these cars for years, and we're getting to bring them back out on the road for, we just did a 68 Camaro RS for a gentleman. He bought it in 69.
Wow.
And parked the car in, I want to say 76 or something like that.
Yeah.
And we just got it back on the road for him.
Nice.
Super cool guy, stories for days.
Yeah.
Building those kind of relationships is just awesome.
Yeah.
Building the dreams.
Yeah. Because I found the more you work on stuff, we all tend to gravitate to certain areas. And I don't know if it's a blessing or a curse, but some of the things I gravitated to is stuff that other people just don't like to do. And the bosses in the shops, they know that. They're like, hey, this is up your alley. I'm like, yeah, but why do I got to get all the shit jobs? It's like, especially like with the wiring and, I love doing electrical work, but like, why does everything have to be like a rat's nest or a problem before I get it? Like, why can't I just get a nice, easy harness job,
That's how most of them come in.
Yeah.
I know. I've been kind of really enjoying the assembly and kind of that, like, just fine detail.
Yeah.
Fit and finish, make it nice. Doing a lot of wiring, mechanical work.
Right.
Enjoy tearing into an engine when I can.
Brian, what about you? What's your favorite aspect of the car building? What areas do you gravitate to?
That's kind of hard because it's been a while, but I like. I guess I'm just really more of just the nuts and bolts of it.
Yeah.
I like I said, I have to admit, I've gotten better with patience and doing something. And I don't know where that came from because
age.
I guess it really is age because I've gotten a whole hell of a lot better. I guess problem solving by just by looking and knowing and like so forth. But again, if I can get my hands dirty, I'm happy. It's just the nuts and bolts of it. And I was never really good about the end of the detail.
Right.
That was always my problem. And here, like I said, recently, now I know if I just take the extra 10 minutes at the very end, you have a better presentation or a better outcome,
Right.
And it was always really hard. It was always easy for me to slap it together, I guess is a term to use, and then the next guy could clean it up,
Right.
And I've gotten better. I just never had the patience for that. And here lately, I've been working a lot with the metal, actually like doing body work type stuff. I'm always amazed when I walk into a body shop. And I didn't have my phone with me because I thought of you because there was an FJ that had the whole side torn out of it.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was. I still can't believe they actually got it back together in 2 weeks.
Wow.
And with all the parts problems, you know what I'm saying. But I've always find it amazing when I go into a shop and I can watch a guy cut a section of the car out and put a section back in. And like everything still lines up because
I think
amazing.
I told you the story. My good friend TJ, he's a body man, and he came up as working in a driveway, and spraying, lacquer outside, and he just learned it himself. He went to BOCES, but he just really learned it himself, and he can do anything from heavy work, and he is a painter. He's a top shelf painter, so the guy does everything in between. But as a mechanic, he's a hack. And he knows it. And he knows it because he doesn't take the time to do anything. He doesn't have time to be neat or finesseful. That's why body work is perfect for him because he can make a mess. But I was in the shop he was in one day, and it was like a 4-door Toyota, and it got hit like in the rear wheel well, rear door, and he had the rear door off the car, and that whole contour of where the well goes around the wheel well to the bottom, it was crushed. I said, "Oh, this thing's a total," because it was like a 12-year-old car already. He goes, "No," he goes, "I got to fix this." I was like, "Why? Who's paying to fix this?" He goes, "Well, it's the owner's niece's car or something, and she loves it, so I'm going to fix it." And That's compound
Yeah.
bends in like all directions, And I said, I said, are they getting you like the section you're going to cut out and just weld in the whole wheel arch, the whole wheel section in the door? He's like, no, I got to fix this. So I was like, shit, good luck. So I left. Went and did some stuff. I came back about, I don't know, it was about 4 or 5 hours later at the end of the day. And that was all done and in prime already.
Yeah.
And I said, come on, I'm looking for the weld. I said, they sent you a section. You welded this in, did you? He goes, no. He goes, he did it by hand. And I was like, man, that is the stuff. I said, now is the door going to close? I said, because the doors, he goes, I already had the door in the car. It closes. The gaps are right. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I am so in awe of a guy with talent like that. But yes, he'll put a carburetor on a car and he'll have like, no hose clamps, or he'll tie wire around the hose. And, it'd be like
it's crazy.
Different nuts and everything will be just like, just jacked.
It was funny a while back ago when I was measuring the make sure the front end was still square on the Mustang,
Yeah.
And I measured it out, and of course, again, being, when you're doing a motor job or when you're doing nuts and bolts that way, it's you have a number, like a torque spec, or a way it's put together, and you don't have this clearance, of how it goes together. This is the way it goes, and so I'm measuring. I'm like, I don't know, a quarter of an inch out, on this car, and I'm thinking, God, man, something's fucked up. And of course, I talked to one of my body guys. He goes, "Oh, that's nothing." And I'm like, "What do you mean it's nothing? It's this much on the, It's
right.
this." And he goes, "Oh, no." He goes, "Man, I'll just leave it alone. We'll get this on, and I'll help you, align everything." But I'm just, I'm thinking that, man, I gotta pull this or tweak that,
Right.
And I'm trying to think how I'm like, am I hooking this up to the telephone pole out in front of the house,
Right.
would come along, And,
I've done that.
Yeah. I mean, like I said,
I got to tell you a funny story. The on the FJ, I had one tire. I had the wheels powder coated, and I have new tires on the truck. And one tire would just lose. I check my tire pressures weekly, and one tire would lose more air. It was just losing a couple pounds. And my daughter's RAV4, she's got the stock wheels on hers, and one of her wheels was losing air. And I couldn't find it, and I just had a nagging thought. I said, I got a feeling it's in the TPM valve. So on Veterans Day, I had off. So I had her come over in the morning. I said, okay, I took the tire off of her car, put it in the back of my truck, drove to my friend's tire shop. And I said, okay, I got 2 tires for you. I brought hers in. I got the jacked up my own truck, jacked up truck, took the wheel off, made it easy for the guys. So they got a good tire tech in there. I said, I got a feeling it's the valve. I said, but I'm not sure. So he checks it and he says, yeah, that's what it is. So I said, okay. I said, listen, you have rebuild kits, and just rebuild them. He goes, no. This is the problem. He goes, the guy taught me this. He took the valve apart and there's an O-ring at the bottom, and he cleaned everything, and then coated it with like a light oil, and said, this will seal it. This will work. So what he had was a tiny little torque wrench with a socket on it, and he was tightening it. I said, that gets tightened to what, like 40 inch pounds, or I think I saw like a 40 inch pound spec or a 75 inch pound spec. I said, is that 40 or 75 inch pounds you got that set to? And he grabbed the tool in a way like he didn't grab it by the end. He just kind of grabbed it with his hand in his palm. He goes, no, I just tighten it down and make it like snug. I know when to stop. I'm like, but it's a torque wrench that you're using. Is that so the boss doesn't know that you're not doing it right? Like, you could just grab a ratchet and do that. It's like you're using a precision tool in a non-precision way. He goes, I just have a feel. I know what it's going to be. I was like, oh, man, don't make me come back. And you know what? I know mine's holding air now. I haven't checked hers. I got to see. But it was just funny. Like, you give the guy the right tool, and he still doesn't use it.
All right. Well, I mean, I don't have one here, but we have like a screwdriver version of that.
I have one of those in the garage. Yeah.
And it's so funny because I'll be walking through the shop, and a guy will be using that for something else. I mean, it's, and I'm like, that's a torque wrench for that. And he's like, what? And he's like trying to tighten. It's like click, click, like, it's clicking and he's trying to tighten. I'm just like, never mind it.
Now, I'll tell you what's even funnier. At one point, I do a lot of carburetor work. And at one point I said, hey, you know what? There's got to be a spec on what the screws, like the Holly Bowl screws and the top, there's got to be a spec. I couldn't find it. I finally did find it, but it took me a long time to find that spec. They do not make that easy to find.
Yeah. That's crazy. Even like I said, what I really like though is the group of guys that buy the right tool. Okay. And they have it in the toolbox all nice and neat and they never use it, but it's there when somebody says, do you have the tool? Oh yeah, I've got the tool. It's never been open.
That's crazy.
Never been used.
To spend that money and not use it.
Yeah. And that's a lot of that's with the state inspection stuff. They have it for the trooper. The trooper walks in and, you got to have their list and they say, oh yeah, it's all right here. And but then, he's over there using, he's using the tool that's not supposed to be used to do the job.
I fully understand that. But also, if I was going to spend the money, like the couple $100 or whatever it is on that tool, I think at that point I'd be using it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, if the boss spent the money and you had it, you buy, no big deal. But you laid it out, shit, man, that thing's getting used.
Well, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier about, finding the right guy to do the right job like I said, I can't tell you, I've seen it. I don't know how many times I'll be in there with the boss, the owner of the shop, and the guy will walk in and, for a job interview, to get a job. And, he'll say that he's a master ASC technician, blah, blah, blah. And, you say, okay, well, when can you start? And he goes, well, I can start now. He goes, well, where's your tools? And he's got a backpack with, 2 butter knives and a fucking rock. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you're just like, okay, this is going to be really good. Or my favorite with that is, well, you're only paying me so much. If you want me to bring my tools, you have to pay me more.
Wow.
So I'm going to use your tools.
Wow.
That's
that's like going in someone else's house and like trying to figure out where the silverware is or where the coffee mugs are. It's like, you want yours where where they are. You don't want to have to go. The worst thing in the world is to use someone else's toolbox.
I still open the wrong drawers on my own toolbox.
I do too. Yeah.
Well, that's like I always tell them, I say, so or you must be the guy that walks into McDonald's and tell them that for $1 less you're going to cook your own hamburger.
Yeah. I just I got to tell you a funny story. Speaking about hamburger, I'm reading the Lee Iacocca's book that he wrote back in '84.
Yeah, that's a long time ago. Yeah,
but it's a great book. I mean, if you want to read it from a business perspective and from a personal, a people perspective, I highly recommend it. Yeah. I mean, it's dated because it was written in '84, but it was really all about his time at Ford and how Henry Ford was a real pain in the ass.
Oh,
but anyway, he said when he finally made it into the glass house, the Ford building in Dearborn, now he was the president of Ford. And he said they had, like their dining room, the executive dining room had white glove, white jacket service. You could order anything you wanted any day. If you wanted French food, if you wanted a steak, if you wanted, I guess any kind of weird cuisine, they would make anything you wanted. They had that kind of a staff. And so he said, yeah, we got to try all these different foods. He goes, and every day Henry Ford would be sitting there and he would order a hamburger. Every single day. And he said that's all he ate. And he said when we went out and we went to events, he would always ask for a hamburger. And he said he was always disappointed. He was always motherfucking the chefs. He goes, you know what? Can only get a good hamburger at my place at Ford in my commissary. It's the only place I can get a good hamburger. So I'm reading this saying, okay, that's weird. So Iacocca says, he goes, me being a little bit of, he's Italian. So he goes, Italians, we cook, right? He goes, me being a little bit of a weekend cook and a playing around in the kitchen, he goes, I had to find out what was so good about these hamburgers. So I went in the kitchen one day and I approached the head chef, and I asked him, I said, you make this hamburger for Henry Ford every day. And he raves about it. He says, no one else makes a hamburger like this. He says, what's your secret? Is it spices? Are you putting something in there? How can a hamburger be so special? And the chef says, I'll show you. He goes into the refrigerator and he pulls out like 5 pounds of steak, sirloin steak, throws it in the meat grinder, shapes it into a hamburger, throws it on the grill. He says, that's what I feed him every day. He's getting sirloin. Remember I told you last week I had that sirloin burger at the diner that I was raving about?
Yeah.
It's that taste. He goes, so he doesn't know he's getting a sirloin burger. So everybody else is giving him chopped meat, and his guy's giving him steak.
Yeah.
Like, I got it. I get it, man. When you get that burger that has that flavor to it, woo.
Yeah.
So good stuff in
Yeah, that's a good book, and like I said, I could only Henry Ford was something else, dude.
Oh man, what a pain in the ass.
Yeah, he was a pistol.
Yeah,
he was.
I'm up to the part today. I actually ate lunch outside today, so I finished the Ford part. Now I'm up to where he got fired and he's going to start a Chrysler. So
another good book or another good one to follow. I follow McDonald's. The guys with McDonald's that always amazes me, and of course that when that Ray guy came into when he came into their fold, he had all the dreams. The two brothers just wanted to make hamburgers. They just wanted to.
What about the movie? You've seen the movie, right?
Yeah.
That's a great movie. I have a copy of that.
But like I said, when you read about, I love reading about McDonald's, and just like in 2007, or when the first crash came along, and McDonald's and everybody's scrambling, and the guy that came up, they used to put 3 slices of cheese on a double cheeseburger, on their double cheeseburger, and everybody was cutting back, but McDonald's hadn't cut back yet on the size. It was still, it was the best, and that was their number one hamburger is the double cheeseburger, off the dollar menu. And they came up just like very similar to what Lee Iacocca did with the Mustang, taking one lug nut, away was a penny and a half, but over 1 million cars that adds up, well, that's what that slice of cheese equaled. So when they took that one, in an instant they saved over $1 million with that. And of course that guy, like I said, you're all of a sudden the hero, just for one slice of cheese like that.
Iacocca actually mentioned in the book at the point when he was at Ford, it was the point that he said he was never respected by the bean counters because he was always a design guy and he was, the sizzle guy. He said, but then once he started learning the business models and like you said, if you remove a lug nut, you could save all this money. He goes, all of a sudden the bean counters now started paying him homage and saying, hey, this guy's a little more than just a design guy. He understands our end of the business too. He says that started raising his stock with these guys.
Yeah, well, that's because with Henry Ford, he used every component piece that he got when he made the Model T. That like the boxes that the parts came in, that's what he used. Seats and even and then even the piece. I mean, when the stuff that he cut, the sawdust went in to keep the chains quiet. This guy used every inch of that. He got every penny or every nickel out of whatever part that he used.
That's Henry's father, I guess, or grandfather.
Yeah. The Mr. Henry Ford himself, the original
track of the lineage.
Yeah. But like I said, and of course, we always looked at why did they do that? And of course, when you follow like the Dodge brothers and all those, and when you listen and you try to, you can understand where they're going. That's like you say, a part from a GM fits any parts from a G. They utilize those pieces instead of making them one off or only for one thing.
You know, like the foreign cars. Justin, what I was going to say is, if you ever had the pleasure to work or be around any old World War II vets, I mean, when we were growing up, those guys were our parents. You know, that's we're one generation past that. But now those guys are getting old. You know, they're dying off, unfortunately. But those guys of that generation went through a world war, and you know, they could have been an artillery guy or they could have been a motor pool guy, but they knew how to do a lot of different things. And when they came out, those were the guys that came back into society and like, hell yeah, you know, I'm gonna fix the toaster, or I'll fix the wash machine, because they had that mentality of like we grew up with, of like, yeah, take it apart, look at it, fix it. You know, don't call somebody, you fix it. And they'll be out there tuning up the car and adjusting the valves on the weekend. You know, those guys were like, you know, I wish I would have realized how great they were when I was young enough to be around a lot of them, you know, because those guys, and they were so quiet about it. They really didn't make a big deal about it. They were very underscored in their, you know, they didn't bring attention to themselves.
I had a couple grandpas that were that way.
Yeah, there you go.
Could do anything and everything.
Exactly. It's the generation. I always said that generation, they were like post-Depression, post-World War II. They had to make do with what they had, and when they did get a few bucks, they didn't spend it on frivolous crap. They put it into infrastructure, like into their house or into their family, or you know, instead of buying a new car, they'd buy, you know, furniture or something. But yeah, they didn't call them the greatest generation for nothing. That's for sure.
No, that's for damn sure.
What are we going to be called? I don't know.
Pain in the ass.
Yeah. Because that's the thing. Like, we're all, you know, we're living longer. We're living better. And my daughter said to me, my younger one said to me the other day, last week we were out. I don't know. We were talking about something. She throws stuff at me, random stuff. And, you know, I usually have some kind of answer for her. And she says, Dad, you know, you have to write this stuff down in like a book. I'm like, what do you mean? Write what down? She goes, all that stuff that you know. I said, oh my God. I said, how do you? I said, it's impossible. I said, you got to take like a memory stick. You got to put a USB stick in your brain and like download it. I said, you can't write it all. It's just too much.
Yeah.
And I actually thought of it over the years of writing almost like doing it like yellow book form or like encyclopedia, like go by an entry and just put my random thoughts about, because that's what I'm talking about. Just put, because you have like thoughts about things.
Yeah.
And I said to her, you know, I thought about it for a minute and I said, I know what you're talking about, but we're coming at it really probably not the same way, but I understand where you're coming from. And it was when my younger brother was in the hospital after he had his motorcycle accident. He was technically brain dead. His spinal cord, his clavicle was broken, but he was alive. So they were keeping him alive with the machines. And I remember standing there looking at him and saying, all that information in your brain, all of that Porsche and Audi stuff that we would talk about and we would share. And I said, all that stuff, I said, it's just going to go, poof, it's going to go away. I said, I wish I had a way of taking that out and absorbing it. You know, like I want to do like a Spock brain, you know, mind meld or something. Yeah. And that's what I said to her. I said, that's exactly what I wanted to do with my brother. I said, because all that information now was going to be, it goes with you. It's gone. I said, so I get what you mean. So I think for her sake, I'm going to have to try and do that.
It's really hard, Ray. It's hard because it's been a year since my dad, you know, and I catch myself, and I have a journal in the tool truck, you know, and I write down my thoughts or to release and so forth. And I started a section in there about you won't believe this, Dad, because you know me and my dad would always talk about stuff like that, you know, of something that would come about, you know, and it would, you know, it'd be like, well, you won't believe what they did this time, you know, or you know, their idea of solving a problem or whatever. And but what I find though, and I've joked with the girls, you know, because you know, Staples or usually Staples has it during school time, you know, those composition books for, You know, they'll have the first 300 of them are 25 cents. You know what I'm saying? So you can, you know, that's what I have, and I have a stack of them all over the place. And I've tried that over the years of writing down, but usually I'm not very good at that. I guess if you're good writing or that way, it's kind of hard to, when you go back and read it, it's kind of hard to decipher.
You know why? Because we have a thought about something, and if you put the thought down, a week later you go back and even you say, what the hell was that about?
Yeah.
You gotta like put in a couple of sentences of what the thought. I know. I've done the same thing. I've done the exact same thing.
And I've tried the last couple times.
Yeah.
And then I get frustrated because what I liked about my books or my journals or my self-improvement or whatever you want to call it, it was just when I had the thought or when I came across, I would just stop and write, and it would just flow. And then I found myself now where I'm like trying to make sense of it, and it's like I got to get going. I've spent too long now, you know. And
as an amateur writer, I've had a lot of that, and there's a couple stories that I wrote that literally, and I did it, you know, on the computer. The words came out of my brain, down my fingers. I couldn't type fast enough to just. It was just like, it was like The Shining, you know. But I wasn't writing the same sentence. I was just banging it out, and it was like I couldn't get the words out fast enough. And then there's other times you're in the middle of a paragraph and like you're waiting for the word, and you're looking at the screen, and you can't go past that word. It's like, and that happens to me even with an email. I'm putting my thoughts out there, and I want to convey a thought, and I'm like, okay, I get half the sentence, and I'm like, wait a minute. No, I like to compose that last half the sentence just doesn't happen. And I'm like, how do I convey what I'm thinking of? And I always say, okay, go back, keep it simple. Just don't try to overwrite it. Just try to keep it real simple. But sometimes you just hit that wall. And at other times, when it flows, oh, that's the best feeling in the world.
Yeah.
The best.
Yeah, sometimes all of a sudden I realize I've written down 2.5 pages, you know what I'm saying? And it
but you know what? It's a catharsis, because even that in itself is good. It's a good release to do that.
Yeah.
You know.
But I told the girls, I said, it might be a little hard, but there's a lot of information in there.
You know, I found if I go back and read stuff of my own a lot, I'm like, what the hell was I thinking about? That's like, I can't do it. But if I was reading something of somebody else's, I would, you like I said, you approach it from a different perspective. So, you know, you may have some, you know, stick with it a little more. But
yeah.
I
don't know. I told them, I said it'll be easier if I can just make a movie. If I made a movie and you wouldn't believe half the stuff, you know. But
right.
It's been kind of interesting.
You know, just to talk, like my kids get a kick out of it. Just when I explain to them how I did something or my thought process on something, and they're like, well, where did you come up with that? I'm like, well, that's all of the years of experience that filtered down through that funnel to give you an ends to a mean. I said, use everything that you've learned, and you don't use everything at every time. And sometimes you pick something really obscure out of the past, and that's how I'll fix something. That's how I make something work. You know, we all do it. I said it's an amazing process that we don't even think about, but yet we have the ability. And then I start sitting. Then I'll sit back. Then when I get really deep, I'll sit back and think, okay, that power, if you will, came from somewhere, and I know I didn't create it. I'm just the end user of it. So there's a being, there's a God that actually enabled me and gave me the ability to do that. And then I just feel, then I go in awe. I'm like, wow. Like, what is really going on? And what's, you know, there's a lot more here than any of us can comprehend in this mortal life. And it almost makes me like, I can't wait to find out what it is, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's when you need to put aside too, Pink Floyd on.
Yeah, there you go. Right. Right. Turn the record over. Right. But I'm telling you, you know, just to look at, you know, I'll just watch like animals, kittens or birds. I was watching a bird the other day, you know, and I'm like, you know, this is a force of nature. And this was like, naturally occurring. These, the animals know what to do instinctively, but they didn't. And it passed. My friend's wife feeds squirrels, and they come up to the door, and she knows them. Like she knows which one is which, and she can tell now who the children of the squirrels are because squirrels will bring the little baby squirrels up, like to introduce them. There's this whole squirrel family thing going on, and I say, the whole process of genetics and passing this stuff down through generations, and they don't talk to each other. They're squirrels, It's like, that's the power of nature that we can't conceive.
Yeah.
We're not equipped to do that. Like we're not at that pay grade. I just hope someday that that we get the ability to understand that a little better because it's
crazy.
People say this, then there's the people who say, hey, look, it is what it is. We're on the earth. We die. We're done. And that's it. No, that's not it. That's not it. We didn't just show up. There's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah. Hopefully it won't. Hopefully it won't be like the TV series Lost, and you'll be bummed out at the very end because they strung you along for a year and a half or 2 years with that series, and it was all just a big nothing. So
yeah. Hopefully, no, I think there's definitely more to it. All the bullshit, all the supply chains, all the politicians. That's all just bullshit. They'll all pay the price. It makes me want to be a better person. It really does. It makes me want to be a better human being and a better friend. Like that's like one of my friends, with this lasagna thing. Justin, what happened was my buddy, my good friend of mine, his wife had to go in for back surgery. Her knee was shot, her back was shot. So they took her in and I think she maybe came home tonight. But, my wife said, hey, why don't we, cook them some food so that they don't have to, worry about making some food. I'm like, all right. I said, okay, good. And then the whole thing about the sauce came up, said, good, I'll make a lasagna. And then there was like extra sauce. We gave them that with a box of rigatoni and a big thing of bread. So now they got a couple of dinners. It's like, just extend yourself a little bit for somebody. It wasn't that big of a deal. And it goes, it really goes a long way.
It's a big deal to them.
And it actually is a big deal to me too, because to be able to touch another human like that in a way that is heartfelt, and it wasn't a big deal, and you're not looking for praise, you do it for the right reason. That's what it's all about, doing things for the right reason, and just knowing because it is right. I think the world needs more of that. We really do.
Yeah,
more good people.
Yeah. We talk about, there was something that came up this week. I was talking to my wife about it. They talk about your 3 a.m. friends. And I said, it was on one of the news shows they brought up. I said, yeah. I said, I have a group of 3 a.m. friends. And I said, because I don't have a lot of friends. And my wife says, are you kidding me? You got so many people. I'm like, yeah, I got over 500, 600 names in my phone. I said, but they're acquaintances. I said, I have a small group of people I consider close friends. And I said, and most of them, I could call at 3 a.m. if I needed help. I said, and some of them, that guy TJ, he has called me at 3 a.m. It's like, dude, go to my house, get my van. I wrecked the bike. The cops are chasing me. You got to come pick me up. All right.
3.
Yeah. I said, and that I said, a lot of people I found, a lot of younger guys don't have that. I mean, I've worked with I had a bunch of guys work for me who were now in their 30s. A couple of them are touching their 40s. And they said, you know what? My friends don't do that. My one friend, I got a call from a buddy of mine. His son had an El Camino, and he was trying to take the wheel off, but a lug nut stripped. And he was living in town. He says, can you come over to your house? I said, yeah, send him over. So the son comes over. I knew the guy. And we're working on it. And, of course, now I'm going through air chisels. I mean, it turned into like a few hour, huge job. It was a lot more than I thought. And he looked at me, he says, Ray, he goes, I got to ask you a question. He says, we know each other, but not, intimately. He goes, I know you're good friends with my dad. He goes, what's with you guys? I said, what do you mean what's with us guys? He says, you guys now his father's is older than me. His dad is like in his late 60s. He says, you guys, you make a phone call and like you're there. Yeah, or there's someone there, or something happens, or there's a package delivered, or whatever. There's a car shows up. He goes, my friends don't do that. He says, and I got some close friends that I was tight with. He says, but if I call them, the first thing I hear is an excuse. I said, well, it's the way we grew up. We grew up needing our friends to get stuff done. I said, and we realized that, you continue to do. I said, so now we carry that on with our friends' kids. I said, because for me to help you is like me helping him. I said, and all I need is a phone call. All I need is to be asked. And he's like, I said, Seth, I said, you just got to promise me one thing. He's like, how do I repay? I said, you don't repay me. I said, there's no money changing hands. There's no nothing. I said, what I want you to do is pay it forward and you help somebody else. Just next time you get a phone call, or if you see someone on the side of the road, or if a woman is stuck, just pull over and see if you can help them. I said, that's all. Just pay it forward. We got to propagate this in life because the shitheads are out there, and there's more of them than there are of us, I think.
Yeah.
I said, that's all I ask. So.
Yeah.
I close my sermon. It's 12:30.
Oh. Yeah, I gotta get, man.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Anything to add, Justin? Can you add any final words to this?
Oh, I'm just loving it, man.
Good. You're a good guy.
Good group. Well, so are you guys. We got a good group of people.
We try.
Yeah, we try. All you gotta do is give a phone call.
That's it.
Try our best.
Even if it's, another 2.5 hours, it'll be 3 a.m. Call me.
Try it. Give you a call.
Brian's going to be up, so you can't.
Yeah, don't worry. You might get it. Text me. Be surprised when I answer.
Right.
I got a few guys that freak out. What are you doing up? I'm always up, dude.
All right. Well, for Lewis Lee and Playing in Traffic, Ray Guarino, Matt Man, Brian, Justin Air Betts, hanging out late tonight. We'll be back. Well, we won't be back next week because it's Thanksgiving. So you guys have a great Thanksgiving.
You too.
You just
both of you guys.
And we'll talk to you during the week. So